Or just come up. Okay. Tonight we are fortunate to have several new members and several returning members. Welcome back, everybody. Some administrative function. These are the keys that the community center allows us to use for the restrooms. Ladies' room is out that door on the left, and men's is through the door straight behind you. Should we have a fire or emergency, only exit hit this door, or that door. These two doors go nowhere, so you'd be trapped in those doors. So we also have paperwork that needs to be signed that's in the black folders if you got one. Basically, they want to know how to reach you. So please fill that out at some time of the meeting and put your T-shirt size on at least one of those papers. The city is going to be very generous and give us all tank tops or something. I'm not sure what. Anyway, we will be taking care of that. So with that, since we're all sworn in and we're here, meeting is called to order. First on our agenda is the Honolulu Fire Department. Thank you for being here tonight, gentlemen.
Good evening. I'm firefighter Vasconcelos from the Waikīkī Fire Station, and here are some tips and statistics for the month of July. The Waikīkī station responded to 2 structure fires and 13 activated alarms with no fires this month. And other emergencies, the Honolulu, Station 7 responded to 211 medicals, 2 motor vehicle collisions with pedestrians, 3 motor vehicle crash collisions, and 3 ocean rescues. The fire safety tip for the month of July is wildland fire awareness and prevention. Wildland fires significantly threaten Hawaii's landscape, wildfire, and communities. As you guys know, there's one going on in the west side right now. With dry conditions and daily activities increasing the risk, it's crucial to take proactive steps to prevent and mitigate wildland fires. First, lightening the load. Reduce the risk of ignition by maintaining your yard and cleaning your gutters to remove fuels. Clear, cool, and contain. Clear vegetation 10 feet around campfires and barbecues. Keep a shovel and water nearby and ensure fires are completely extinguished before leaving. Watch the spark. Ensure machinery, chainsaws, weed trimmers, and others, and recreational vehicles with operating sparks arresters are maintained regularly. And for more information, please visit the Honolulu Fire Department at their website. If there's any questions.
Questions for the Honolulu Fire Department? Members of the audience, any questions for the fire department? Board members, go ahead.
Hi there. Last month, I had brought up that on Cartwright Road, there was about 10 propane tanks, all in a small little condensed area that are about 5 feet tall. Did you guys look into that, or what the legal allowance is for how many you can have between 2 buildings?
Sorry, on Cartwright?
Yeah, so on Cartwright, there's a bunch of food trucks, and there's propane tanks about this tall, and they're all stacked together, about 10 of them. Big, tall ones, and they're right within like 20 feet of 2 buildings.
Hold on one second. I think my captain might have a little bit more information.
That's what everybody. Yeah, I've been up here doing our spiel today, but I think a little bit about that. We contacted our bureau, our codes bureau, who handles. We contacted our codes bureau, which handles larger, the buildings that most of you probably live in, or in cases like this, those food trucks over on Cartwright. So they've been informed, and I think they're supposed to follow up. So I haven't heard back from them yet, though. Yeah, so there are our Fire Prevention Code Bureau. Yeah, well, they've been informed about it. Whether they have gone down there yet, I wasn't informed of the progress on that.
Any other board members with questions for the fire department? Anybody online? Welcome, Member Mers. I see you online. Okay, thank you, guys. Next, we have the Honolulu Police Department. We have the major with us tonight. Welcome.
Good evening, board. Good evening, community members. My name is Steve Keo. I'm a lieutenant here in Waikīkī. I work night operations. With me this evening is Lieutenant Steve Ono. He's with daytime operations. And then the commander of District 6, Major Braden Ogata, is with us tonight. I'm going to share some stats with you. We do this pretty much monthly. Board members, you have a copy of this. Community members, I'll try to read slow. These are the stats for the month of June, and we're going to compare them to the previous month of May. For the month of June, the district had 7 robberies. Previous was 10. Burglaries were, robberies were 7. Previous was 10. Burglaries this month for June was 10. Previous was 13. Thefts, we had 122. Previous 121. UEMV, 9. Previous 15. Assaults, 30 compared to 42. Sex crimes, we had 4. Previous month was 1. Bike, skateboard on sidewalk, 4 as opposed to 3 the previous month. Speeding citations, 2 compared to 3. Parking citations, 1,808 compared to 2,058. Loud muffler. Some of you in the room are going to be happy to hear this one. Loud muffler, 14, and I'm not being sarcastic, there's improvement. 14 violations as opposed to 8. Park closure, the ATV team, the ATV guys that you see at night doing the park closures, they do such a good job. 87 citations given, 14 arrests, and that's compared to 93 and 18. Total calls for service that the cops here in Waikīkī responded to, approximately 4,419 calls for service. That's up about 200 from the previous month. Also, I want to share with you folks, I remember one of the board members was curious about DUI stats. I know that came up. Hi, sir, how are you? That came up in conversation. I have the statistics, not for the month of June, because those haven't come out yet, but I do have them for the month of May, okay? In Waikīkī for the month of May, there were 36 individuals arrested for driving under suspicion of operating a vehicle. Of the 36th arrests, this was interesting to me, 23 of the 36 refused testing. That means when they got to the police station, they did not agree to either do a blood or breath test. That was interesting. And 2 of the DUI arrests were motor vehicle collision related. Okay, so 2 were motor vehicle related. Again, 36 arrests for the month of May, 23 refused testing, 2 were MVC related. Okay. Sure.
When they refuse the test?
Please
When somebody refuses the test, what status does that place them in?
Sure. So now keep in mind, they're still going to get their day in court, but the consequences of that are you automatically, whether you're guilty or innocent, okay, with the trial, you lose your license. You lose your license. You lose the ability to drive regardless. So there's a pretty serious consequence with that. You get it back eventually, but there is a suspension period if you refuse to do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Questions from the audience? Yes. Please use the microphone over here.
Is this on? It's on, we hear you. Is it on? Okay. First of all, I'd just like to thank the officers in thank you very much for timing us all throughout the number of things. District 7, I'd like to thank them all very much. The police officers have been great. This week, the police officers finally caught the guy we call the digger at Mo'ili'ili Japanese Cemetery. He was undermining the grave sites, and he's finally been caught now. And a couple months ago, the good police officers also caught the lava man who was in fact destroying the grave sites. And he's probably still in OCCC, I hope. Anyway, so I just wanted to thank the police officers for the great work they're doing. Thank you.
Thank
Any-
you. Thank you, ma'am, for your comments. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board, from the audience? Greg?
Aloha, Officer Keo. I have a question regarding your report, and I know we've heard the reports quite often, but I turn the news on every day, especially this past week, and I see a shooting, a stabbing, a fire. Another day, next day, shooting, stabbing, fire. I mean, literally, it's been like that. There's been a lot of fires, and we have the brush fires, we had some house fires, and but the shootings and the stabbings are the ones I'm more concerned about. There seems to be a lot of shootings lately. There's been a couple of deaths, if I'm correct. When you do your report and you report on assaults, I'm assuming that's all embedded within assaults?
No, that would be something different.
Okay.
That would not be embedded in assaults. And the statistics that I'm giving the board and the community members are exclusively related to the Waikīkī area
Waikīkī.
only. Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it possible, because I know you're policing, HPD is policing the larger community. I realize this is Waikīkī specific, but the shootings are really of a concern to me, and the stabbings, even if it's outside of our community, just to understand what's happening on Oahu in general. Is that something that you could potentially add in the future? And it's up to the board, but
You know, we're happy to obviously have a dialogue about whatever the community wants to bring up. Whether or not we're going to add it specifically to the stats, I can't speak to that. I can check. But when we come together as a community, we can always have a dialogue about things that might be top of mind to you. And I agree with you. The last couple of weeks, whether it's Kalihi or whether it's the West Side, it's been very active, no doubt about it. And then the fires, and kudos to the HFD, kudos to the fire department for the way they contained not only that brush fire the first day, but the second one again with that. So just a great job on their part.
okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, the fire department did an amazing job.
Yeah, they
so
did a
thank
really
you.
good job. Yeah, no, thanks for being here. Thanks for your comments.
Sir, did I see your hand? Yes, please use the microphone.
Hello, thank you again. You mentioned mufflers. Oh, Scott Larimer. Okay, you mentioned loud muffler citations, but I'm curious also about loud music from cars too. I don't know how that gets patrolled. It's my first time being at the meeting, so I'm going to keep it quick. The other thing that is a big concern to me is I am seeing an inordinate number of youth on bicycles, electric bicycles, motor bicycles, popping wheelies all the way down Kalakaua, Kapahulu, everywhere and through the parks. And I don't know how that's getting monitored, addressed. So appreciate your comments on that. Thank you.
Sure. I think we all would agree that we've seen a couple of things related to your question. Those motorized bicycles are not considered e-bikes. Remember, if we go back a couple of meetings, Mayor Rick and his team clarified what an e-bike is and what basically an off-road electric machine is. And what that gentleman is talking about is these things reach speeds of 60 miles an hour. They are not allowed on the city and county roadway. E-bikes actually have pedals. So at least we have identified what is and isn't allowed. Your follow-up question, which is a good one, how do we do enforcement with this type of stuff? How do we navigate that? Well, full transparency, it's complicated. First, I would say a lot of these younger people are juveniles. They're not even 18 years old. So I would say parents need to do a better job at being parents. And before they spend $4,000 to get their child a toy that could actually kill them or somebody, there needs to be some responsibility in the home. Because what you might not be aware of, we feel that a lot of these kids, and I call them kids because they're not 18, they're coming from other areas. They're coming from Waipahu. They're coming from Waipio. They don't live anywhere in the immediate Honolulu urban area, and they come make their way down here. How do we do enforcement? Well, I think we all could agree that those bikes are very nimble. They're very quick. We have to balance doing enforcement with public safety. I can tell you that we run specific operations related to these off-road electric motorcycles, and we've done a pretty good job at catching some of them. Could we do better? Yes. But the challenge is, how do we get them to stop? Do we pursue them? If they flee from us, do they create a hazard even more than just doing the wheelies? So I will tell you, we know about it. We have taken enforcement it is a priority, but we are still navigating the safest way to try to do enforcement that doesn't put the public at risk any more than what their conduct is already.
Yes, please use the microphone. Thank you.
I will. Okay. Margaret Murchie.
Hi, Margaret.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm on the Diamond Head Papahula board. But I understand that riding double on a moped is illegal.
That's,
The only one, and no one pays attention to that. And I've seen little babies, you know, and with their moms or their dads. And it's just scary. And they're all over the place. So that's low hanging fruit.
sure. So what Margaret is talking about, that's actually a traffic infraction. It's called packing. You cannot have, unlike a motorcycle where you can have two, on a moped, you cannot have two. So she's correct in identifying that as a concern. And Margaret, I agree with you. You
Yeah.
do see that from time to time. And I can share with you that when our officers do see something like that, they know that a traffic stop is appropriate for that. Yeah.
And I'm still seeing outdated safety stickers. It's so easy to, you know, like yesterday, I think just driving down Kapalua, there were at least 5 outdated safety stickers.
Correct.
And, you know, that's pretty easy too. Is there a police substation in Kahala or Kaimaki?
God, you're putting me on the spot here. When I was younger, is there still, is this?
I was looking for one once.
Back when I was a younger man, newer in the department, there was an area, but as far as I know, there is not. There is a substation out closer to Waikīkī side, I believe, near the DMV out there. Yeah. Officers used to go there and write reports there.
Right.
I'm dating myself, but
But it seems
Years
like
ago.
that's a big distance for not having police around. And people, oh, one of the things there too is people are shoplifting right out the doors out of Macy's. Every single day, these guys come in, grab loadfuls. I mean, no, it's not Waikīkī, but it probably happens here too. They grab loads and loads of clothes on hangers and walk out the door. When I talked to the security there, they said that, you know, Macy's has their own security. Macy's said they don't have a security, but it wasn't the Kahala Mall's problem. I'm like, we could get mugged in the parking lot. You know, that is everyone's problem. I mean, it's every single day.
John, did you have something? Tim?
Yeah, good evening. You work the nights, right?
yes, myself and Lieutenant Steve, I work nights with a lieutenant, yes.
I just wanted to get your impressions of when they put the bus lane in Kuhio. And when
Don't put me on the spot like this now.
No, you're down here. I have a new policy. I will not come past the fire station whenever there's a parade or a street festival or whatever. But this morning even, Kuhio was backed up all the way across Waikīkī. And the buses are flying by everybody else. And it was just a mix up because some delivery trucks parked and nobody wanted to go in the bus lane. And if there was an emergency down here during that time and you couldn't get from point A to point B, would you report that to the major? Would you report it to Roger Morton at Transportation? It's like I said, I just won't even come down here. ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the mayor's on TV and Rick Amato show touting how many buses go down. I don't know if you come down here and you watch the buses go down, there might be 2 people on each bus. So we got all these buses with nobody on it that get an exclusive lane at the expense of everybody else. I know Bob's got some passions about this. I just want to get your impression.
Sure. So I would probably think or guess that there's probably other individuals that maybe feel similar to yourself. As first responders, we're lucky. We can navigate the streets here safely because we have lights and sirens and police cars. So people get out of our way pretty good. So to kind of dissect some of the questions from your statement, as first responders, has that designated bus lane affected our ability to get through the district? I would say no. Okay. As far as community members, do you guys think it's been beneficial? Surely you can share it in this public forum. Again, I would reach out to the elected leaders and share with them how you feel. I will say this, they spent a lot of money and a lot of time creating that lane, so I can't see it disappearing anytime soon. It might be one of those things that we all just have to kind of deal with, at least for the time being. So, and I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't think the mayor of Waikīkī was included in that district, that discussion. Major, did they reach out to you for any comments on that? Okay, so yeah, so I don't know. I don't think the police department had a lot of input as to that designated bus lane. So I guess we'll have to see how it plays out. But as far as first responders being able to navigate, I haven't seen any additional challenges. The main thing we just try to do is have people just understand they need to pull to the right, and 30 or 40% of the people driving in Waikīkī don't know where the hell they're going anyway because they're not from here. So we have other issues other than that designated bus lane to worry about, but yeah.
John?
Thank you for your comments. Yeah, thanks.
Hi, Lieutenant.
Hey,
John Dutzman.
Hey, sir.
We talked outside a little bit about this. So my question ultimately is about the jurisdiction in the zoo parking lot, but my overall observation is that zoo parking lot is a source of loud motorcycle groups, loud muffler groups, loud speaker groups. And my new gut instinct is these shootings from the other side of the island. We now, with school out and all that, have the high school crowd and the college crowd hanging out there. I live right across the street from there, as there's a few people on the board, and I'm a little worried about that spot. It appears to be a public parking spot, but it isn't. The city basically hoarded out to some private company, and they don't provide security. So I'm going to bring this up again later, but I just want to know from your perspective, what's the jurisdictional issues there?
Sure. So what John is sharing with everybody here is the zoo parking lot. That technically is not run or owned now by the city and county. John is not incorrect. That's considered a private parking lot now. Now, that doesn't mean that if certain criminal things happen there, that we're not going to get involved. But some more things that would be classified as nuisance, we have to walk a fine line with that, John. I can share with you that I still send my officers patrols to drive through that parking lot. I've actually spoken to the motorcycle groups there personally. I used to ride for many years, so I developed a rapport with them just to let them know to be courteous to what's going on. So to John's point, it's not owned by the city and county. It's a private lot. I believe that the major and the command staff are aware of some of the challenges there, John, and they're going to try to, maybe we can get some type of partnership going, but your comments are correct. If I can just share one thing, I've been doing this a minute, and I'm not saying this to make you sleep better at night. It's just how I feel. If there's shootings in Miley Beach Park on the west side of the island, the likelihood of the individuals doing that shooting, coming down and cruising in the zoo parking lot, I would say are probably pretty low. And that's just me. But John, it doesn't mean, no, before you respond to me, it doesn't mean that it can't happen. I'm simply saying that the individuals that would do that conduct out on the west side probably for the most part, stick to the west side.
Right.
I'm not saying there's not players and bad people that couldn't do that here, but you kind of did that correlation. And I just wanted to share with you and everybody kind of what I thought about that.
I think my point there was the age group.
Sure.
All these shooters tend to be 25 and under for the most part, and the victims. So that's the crew that hangs out
You're-
there.
You know, John, you're not wrong. And just to make the board and the community aware, our officers are mindful when large groups of young juveniles come in packs. I don't believe any good comes from that. If we see a pack of 15 or 20 juveniles that look like they're coming in on mopeds and they're from some other parts of the area, they have every right to come down here, but we certainly monitor their conduct. And remember, if they're under 16 years of age, there's status offenses that we can hold them accountable for, that will hopefully deter any type of that activity down here in White's. Yeah. Thank you, John.
This lady in line, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Catherine Lee.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi.
Hi.
Between the library and the golf course in the entrance, there's a large encampment. And we were notified that there was a sweep several days before the last board meeting, which is true. The sweep happened and maybe an hour or so later, the people migrated back and now it's fully occupied. We were recommended by the representative from the mayor's office to write an email, which I did, to request that maybe weekly it could be looked into and a sweep could happen. I don't, once in half a year probably isn't going to do much. I'm just wondering, do you and your colleagues drive down there and take a look at what's going on? That's it's kind of a problem that's getting worse.
Yes, ma'am. So a couple things. The area that you're speaking about is actually not, even though it's close to Waikīkī, that's actually in the District 7 zone. Okay. So if there's any issues, that would be District 7. But I will share this with you. Our officers accompany the city and county employees that are tasked with doing those cleanups. They do get a police escort. And we are in partnership with them, and that is prearranged. And when those sweeps occur, the city and county people are not going out on their own. We do give resources to them to help out.
Thank you.
What can be done about the ongoing problem? Can you talk to your folks in District 7 and say, hey, this keeps coming up in the meetings?
Okay, so a couple of things. And again, it's a District 7 issue, but I want to entertain this just briefly because you came here and you want to be heard. Are you familiar with an organization called the ACLU? Okay. So this organization is very adamant about rights and property and people being able to be certain places. And this has been something that the city has been dealing with for quite some time. So I would say that this is not so much, now it becomes a police issue, ma'am, if they're drinking in public, if they're exposing their genitals with open lewdness and urinating, if they're doing any type of criminal activity, then absolutely HPD officers are going to get involved. But if there's no criminal activity, and these individuals are camping outside with their belongings everywhere, it's not as easy as, we can't go up to them as police and say, hey, see all this stuff here? Take all your stuff and get out of here and beat it. We can't do that. We only engage them if there's criminal conduct. And to your point of where do we go from here? Again, not to keep deflecting to elected leadership, but ultimately this is elected leaders representing you folks and trying to get things in place that balance individuals' rights with some common sense of people that actually pay taxes.
Okay, well, there are blue signs posted throughout that area that say there's no camping in the area. So isn't that something that you
Sure.
can use as an enforceable?
That's a great observation. There's park rules, and absolutely, we can certainly do that if it's park rules. But if it's daytime and the park isn't closed and they play that little game where they go from the park to sit at the bus stop and then go over to get drinks at the gas station and basically get out of that area when it's closed and just go back there during the day, that's the little cat and mouse game that kind of happens.
Yes, sir.
Dominic Ostrowski, I live right here by Pau Kalani and Kuhio, right in the middle. I guess has to do with speeding. Cars that are coming from Pau Kalani, going straight to Kuhio, they're just speeding all the way to the lane. I don't know if you guys can do something about that or monitor it, or because they're punching it from Pau Kalani to Kuhio.
Nope.
Maybe one day it might just go straight past the light, and I've seen a couple of accidents already.
Okay.
So,
No, thanks for bringing that to our attention. That's something.
and you guys are doing a good job.
Appreciate you for that. And as for your point, that's certainly something that we can monitor a little bit more. That's an easy ask.
Especially now with the bus lane now, they're still taking the left turns and the thing is only going right.
Yeah.
So like this gentleman was saying, now that they got that bus lane, it's crazy, there's traffic. And that's every day.
I hear you.
Hopefully we can get the mayor then to change it back to the 2 lanes and put the buses on Kalakaua like how it was before back in the day. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here.
Catherine.
Going back to the zoo parking lot, I live in the same building that John does. And quite often, there will be groups very late at night, like 3, 4 in the morning, with the trunks of their cars open, just blasting music and big parties and, the whole deal. Who do we contact and who is the owner of the private lot? Are they responsible for this now?
So a couple of things. If that's happening, dear, you for sure call us because that's a noise disruption and we can absolutely handle that. Okay. Whether it's on private property or not, we can certainly go there and make an appearance. As far as who actually owns that lot, I don't have an answer for you. I'm sure it's something that can be found out, but I don't know at the moment. I can't give you an answer on that one. But absolutely, please continue to call us. Yeah.
Other board members, questions? Sarah.
Hi.
Hi, Sarah.
Hey, good to see
How are
you.
you?
So, good. So I always, me, I always like to follow up. Someone brings up something, I like to follow up with it. So for the ride-alongs, I did call and they don't have the forms at the substation and they're not online. I was wondering if, I don't know if any of you go to the main station. I'm such a homebody. Is it possible to bring some of those forms? Because I think a lot of us would like to do a ride-along. I think that'd be fantastic for the public and for us. Is that?
Sure, Sarah, we can connect offline. I'm happy. I'm down here enough. If you live down here, I can certainly navigate that for you. Be a pleasure, no problem. And I'll have some forms, no problem. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted some clarification. So you talked about packing before, where 2 people ride a moped. I was under the impression that if you had a motorcycle license, you could have 2 people on a moped.
I'm not aware of that in any capacity because of what they're operating technically is not made or safe enough to have 2 individuals. The CCs are not high enough. Now, you do need to have a driver's license to operate a moped. That's something new. But even if you had a Type 2 license, which allows you to ride a motorcycle, it doesn't allow you to pack a passenger on a moped because that is only designed for 1 occupant. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Go ahead. Ken?
Lieutenant, thank you for bringing that information about the DUIs.
You're welcome.
I brought you the article titled Lawsuit, Honolulu Police Made 127 DUI Arrests, but the drivers were sober. And then in that news article, it said that there were 1,283 DUI arrests. Now, 80% didn't get convicted. And the other 20%, only half of them got convicted. So that's a lot of manpower to pull over a lot of people and take them into the station and just let them go. And then what you said, I really probably need to be talking to the prosecutor because he's the one who ultimately, decides how he's going to push these crimes, but he's obviously not doing it.
Sure.
Back where I'm from, if you're not a hard DUI prosecutor, you're not going to be an officer at all.
I see. I see. So I can tell you that HPD officers are still going to arrest drivers that on suspicion of DUI. Everybody gets their day in court. Now, you brought up a stat that I didn't realize. If they were not convicted, then to your point, maybe they had great defense attorneys and or the prosecutor, okay? We don't control, and you know this, and I say this respectfully, we don't control the outcome of whether somebody fully gets convicted. Our officers are usually called as witnesses and are asked to testify.
That's what I hear. It's, I'm a lawyer and I've done some DWI cases, not here, but in another state. And I've asked some people just, here and there, and they say what happens is when the lawyer takes the defendant into court, the police officer's not there. And if the police officer isn't there, the judge just dismisses the case. And that's pretty much what these statistics mean. Now, these 127 DUIs, there's no arguable reason to pull these people over. There's no probable cause. So I don't know. If I were a policeman, if my force was putting that much work into arresting almost 1,300 people and maybe 100 or so got convicted, I'd go talk to the prosecutor or do something. Something's wrong, and that should be fixed.
Yeah.
You agree?
So you brought up a lot of points. Respectfully, I don't agree with a lot of what you just said, but you're certainly entitled to your opinion. Respectfully, I don't know enough about the circumstances like I alluded to the last time we came together as a community. I don't know enough about that article or enough about the circumstances. But what I can tell you, and because you brought it up, I hope you'll allow me to respond. I think you were implying in some ways, there was a little bit of an innuendo there that people are getting acquitted or getting found guilty because officers are not showing up to court. I don't have, do you have, and I'm not being adversarial here. Neither do I. So
it's just talking to other lawyers.
So you probably expect me to take this position, but I'm going to oppose. And if you're asking me if I agree with you, I'm going to disagree on its face with that statement.
What statement?
The statement that people are not getting, we'll say beating DUI cases because officers are not going to court, unless I misheard you. Did I mishear that point that you made?
That's what I've been told, but that's just.
Okay. So, and you asked me, do I agree with what you said? And I'm just clarifying that that's something you said that I don't agree with.
What I wanted you to agree with is when there's almost 1,300 arrests and maybe 100 of them actually go to court, get convicted. I asked you if you thought there was a problem there and needed to be corrected.
So I'm not trying to be evasive with you. I don't know enough about those stats. Obviously, everybody gets their day in court. If there's X amount of arrests, but there's only so many people that are actually convicted. I think you made a great point earlier that may have to do with something within the prosecutor's office, right? Within other parts of the criminal justice system, maybe.
Well, I brought you a copy of the article. You start there and do what you want. But I appreciate you looking into it,
Thank you.
If we're going to report once a month on DUIs and then nothing ever happens to these guys who are arrested for DUIs, it's almost a meaningless statistic.
So, okay. So I would just remind that I'm happy to speak about things specific to Waikīkī with arrests that I know our people were involved with. I'm happy to do that. As far as speaking on a broader sense of what's happening in other areas of the department, I just don't have the background enough to come to the board and the community with competent comments.
Well, let me just give you the article and then you can take it, read it next month. We'll look at it again.
I so respect your position, but I want to tell you here and now, I'm not going to comment my personal opinions on that article. And I don't want you to think I'm
That's
being
okay.
adversarial. I respect you enough to tell you the truth here and now. That's just not going to happen.
That's okay. Just
Okay.
you reading it is good enough for me.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Major, did you have any words of wisdom for us?
Excuse me, sir. I have to say, I'm
Excuse
serving
me.
on a grand jury, and I can tell you,
Excuse me.
police officers come every
Excuse
single
me.
time, except when they're.
Excuse me.
I would defend anything that he is saying, and I'm sorry, this individual probably has an incorrect thing. They come every single time.
You
They
wait
don't business.
until you're acknowledged by the chair before you take a position. Thank you. I would be happy to let you talk. Major, did you have anything you'd like to, any words of wisdom? I don't see any more board members. I don't see any hands. Thank you for being with us tonight. We
We're happy to be
appreciate
with
it.
Everybody. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Do we have Board of Water Supply?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I apologize. I'm on the road, so I'll make this quick. Happy to report there were no main breaks last month. And just wanted to note that July is smart irrigation month. So similar to homes, we are asking people to check any irrigation systems that you might have in your buildings, on your properties. Also wanted to note that the Board of Water Supply is offering several rebates on rain barrel water catchment systems, as well as weather-based irrigation controllers. And that said, I'd be happy to take any questions on behalf of the Board of Water. I haven't been able to put together the water quality report, but I'm hoping to be there next month with that water quality report for Waikīkī that we talked about at the last meeting.
Hey, board members and audience, any questions for Board of Water Supply? Dominic, thank you for being with us tonight.
All right, thank you.
I thought I'd let you know that following the last meeting and the concerns raised about the new bus lanes, I did contact Roger Morton, the Director of Transportation, and Renee, who's in charge of bus lanes. I think for those of you that were here in the past, you may remember when Renee made her presentation on that bus lane, she said, it's only paint. If it doesn't work, we can fix it. So I've asked them, Tim, you don't have to say anything more, but I've asked them to consider fixing it and to come back and give us a report about what the status is. So we will get that. Tim, I need to move on because we're way behind. No. Thank you.
There's someone supposed to be online or coming to field concerns, because raise your hand if you're here to say anything about the bus lane tonight. There's quite a few of us.
No, it's not on the agenda, but the person that would do that, NOLA, is not going to be with us tonight. So we're taking notes to send back to NOLA, the mayor's representative.
Chair, sorry to interrupt. This is Renee. I am here and listening.
Hey, Renee.
Hi, Bob. And I've heard everybody's comments, and we're appreciate the feedback. And Bob's right. It's just paint. So we'll figure it out.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you. Okay, we are moving on. Subdistrict 3, you have a vacancy. Do you have a nominee? Catherine?
I would like to nominate Rolf Nordhoff, who was serving.
Second that.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Yes.
I would like to nominate Valerie Wong. She's lived here since 1974. and
I'm
is-
sorry, I didn't get the name.
Oh, Valerie Wong.
Valerie Wong. Oh, hi, Val. Okay. Valerie, are you willing to take a position here? Oh, okay. Thank you.
Chair,
Any?
request for information. Why is there a vacancy? We just had an election.
Because nobody ran for that empty seat. Yeah. Do we have any other nominations from the board? So we have 2 nominations. Did you get? Okay, we'll start with Valerie since you're fairly new. Can you give us a minute of who you are?
Hello, everyone on the board and my fellow Waikiki residents. I'm born and raised here, 4th generation, and I've lived in Waikiki since the 70s. I own a condo nearby, and I am willing to serve. I'm very concerned about a lot of issues, and I'm willing to do my part to make things better for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. Could you bring some sort of ID up so he has to confirm your address? Do you have a driver's license or something for him to take a quick look at? Rolf, are you here? Oh, there he is. Could you give us a minute of who you are? I know you were a former serving member.
Aloha, my name is Rolf Nordahl. I live in Waikiki at the Waikiki Grand Hotel and have for 42 years. I came to Hawaii in 1963. I'm originally from Sweden, but I love Waikiki. I care about Waikiki. I care about the Waikiki Grand, and I care about what happens here in Waikiki, and I'd be very happy to serve you on the board.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Mr. Neighborhood Assistant, would you care to run the election on this?
Can I verify this quickly? Sorry.
It's on board last month. Okay, we're going to have a roll call vote. And our neighborhood assistant will do the roll call.
Okay, when I call your name, please say the last name of the person that you want to nominate. So the first name. Oh.
State both of their names,
Or the first name, or okay, the first name, or Rolf Nordal and Valerie Wong. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so when I say your name, please say the last name of the person that you want to be on board. Okay. Renee Amu. Can you use the mic, please?
Ralph Nordahl.
Okay. Jillian Anderson.
Rolf.
Okay. Lisa Cabanero.
Rolf.
Okay. Shotaro Dabbs.
Rolf.
Okay. Corey D. Orazio. Okay. Sorry.
That was a good first try on the last name. Rolf.
Okay, Rolf. Okay. Louis Erdercheck. Rolf.
Rolf.
Okay, sorry. Melissa Fellett.
Rolf.
Okay. Robert Finley. Oh, Valerie. Okay. Catherine Hensky. Oh, you still don't say it. Sorry.
Rolf.
Okay. Tim Hucky. Is that how you say Yuki?
It's pronounced Hike. And Rolf.
Hucky. Oh, okay, Rolf. Okay. Daniel Jacob. Oh, okay. He said Rolf. Ken Jacob.
Rolf.
Okay, he said Rolf. Okay, Jeffrey Mers.
Ralph.
Okay. Nate Sirota.
Rolf.
Okay. Shannon Smith. Okay, she's 12. Okay. And Sarah Worth. Huh? Wong. Okay. That's 14 for Rolf and 2 for Wong. Rolf is back on the board.
In full disclosure, Valerie and I went to high school together, so.
Correction, that's 14. For Rolf.
Chair,
Yes,
while we're waiting for him to be sworn in, I'd like to just remark about the fact that Allison Schaefer is here tonight. And Allison got a piece of legislation, I don't know if I can get through this, passed. It's called Sharkey's Bill. Her daughter died saving another child in a retention pond, which was not fenced. There were no warning signs. Allison has dedicated herself to getting this bill passed, and Governor Green just recently, last week I believe it was, signed it into law, where the retention ponds in all of Hawaii must now be inspected and fenced, and there will be swimming lessons provided, if I'm wrong, just correct me, for children in Hawaii, which is drowning is the largest cause of death of our children on this island. So I think we should give Allison a round of applause.
Yeah, maybe Allison, if I can just follow up on that for a second, I have a nice big picture of the Governor Green in yesterday's paper signing Sharkey's Law and the picture. So thank you. I mean, thank you on behalf of the community for turning your own personal situation into really effective advocacy to try to use it. And I saw the quote that you had, and I think that rings true for a lot of us, that you were able to take that situation and channel that energy, and hopefully positive things are going to come because of all your efforts. And I can tell you, to get a bill passed, the first year up at the legislature is never an easy feat. So you did an amazing job, and we're all really proud. Thank you.
please use the mic.
Gosh, I'm kind of humbled, but I just wanted to tell all of you thank you. It was kind of remarkable to get a bill through so quickly, but I'm here to tell you that I don't think it's that remarkable, because I had so many people in the community, including all of you, behind me. So thank you for the support of the Waikīkī Neighborhood Board and people who watched the neighborhood board and in the community who wrote in and helped to get this bill passed. We do have more work to do. As any bill that goes through, there was a compromise. So we don't have inspections in this bill. They are going to put up fencing. They are going to do signage on new construction, and they'll have a life buoy, so a child that's struggling could be thrown. But there wasn't enough money in the budget this year to get a bill passed with inspections. So we'll have to see. They are required to do a survey of existing ponds, and we'll see what happens from there. I'm hoping it'll become part of a national program at some point. For a change, Hawaii is actually ahead of the curve on this one. I've actually been asked to speak at a national conference on this bill. But I wanted to come up just to say thank you. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You know, I called all of the people who helped Sharkey's Heroes in honor of my daughter, who was very heroic and whose presence and great courage kept me going. So I just want to say thank you all to Sharkey's Heroes tonight.
Thank you, Allison. Next on our agenda, we have the board electing its officers. The first person on the first office is Chair. Catherine?
I'd like to nominate Robert Finley for chair.
Do we have?
Second.
Oh, thank you. Do we have other nominations from the board? Seeing none.
Okay, we still have to do nominations, so When I call your name, please say Finley. Okay. No, we still have to do it as procedure. Renee Amu. Say the last name.
Finley.
Okay. Jillian Anderson.
Finley.
Okay. Lisa Carbonaro.
Finley.
Okay. Shotaro Dabs.
Finley.
Okay. Corey D. Orazar. I already messed up. Ozario. Finley. Okay. Louis Erichek.
Finley.
Okay. Melissa Fellick.
Finley.
Okay. Catherine Hensky.
Finley.
Tim Huckey.
Finley.
Okay. Daniel Jacob. Finley. Okay. Ken Jacob. Finley. Okay. Jeffrey Mers.
Finley.
Okay. Nate Sirota.
Finley.
Okay. Shannon Smith. And Sarah Worth. Abstain. Okay. Okay. That's oh, Rolf Nordahl. Sorry about that. Finley. Okay. That's 16 for Finley and Finley.
Yes, Finley.
Okay, that's 16 for Finley. He's still the chair.
We have to do the roll call vote. It was something that came down from on high. Otherwise, we just do a show of hands. But anyway, nomination for vice chair.
Like to nominate Lou Erdershek.
Lou Erdershek. Sarah?
Second.
Okay.
Shannon Smith. I nominate Shannon Smith.
Shannon Smith. Shannon, while he's making notes, could you say a few words about yourself?
I've lived in Waikīkī since 1998. Lived on the other end, and then I've lived over here since 2004. I'm a licensed real estate broker. I'm up and down the streets every day. I love Waikīkī. People ask me, where you live, and you tell them, and they typically roll their eyes. But I couldn't think of anywhere better to live on the island, and I just want to do everything I can to make it even better.
Sure. Well, thank you. I've had the pleasure to serve as the vice chair for a while, and I have worked closely with the chair. I think we've made a good team and a partner, and I've lived in Waikīkī for about 35 years, and I think I've got a pretty good handle on the pulse of the community and the issues that we care about. And I think I've always tried to be a pretty good consensus builder, trying to understand different people's points of view and trying to come up with solutions. In my professional life, I'm the director of the Hawaii Disability Rights Center, where we provide free legal services to people with disabilities. So I have a pretty good understanding of the needs of a lot of our communities, and I'd certainly be pleased to serve another term as your vice chair. So thank you.
Okay. When I call your name, please say either Erdershek or Smith for vice chair. Renee Amu.
It's Ren, by the way.
Oh, Ren.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Everybody gets it wrong. Smith.
Smith. Okay. Jillian Anderson.
Erderchek.
Erderchek. Okay. Rolf Nordahl. Erderchek. Okay. Lisa Carbonaro.
Erdershek.
Erderchek. Okay. Shotaro Dabs. Erderchek. Okay. D. Oriza. Yeah. Corey.
It's okay. Erdichek.
Erderchek. Okay. Louis Erderchek. Melissa Fellick. Abstain. Okay. Robert Finley. Check. Okay. Catherine Hensky.
Erdershek.
Erderchek. Tim Huckey.
Erdichek.
Erderchek. Daniel Jacob. Erderchek. Okay. Ken Jacob. Erderchek. Jeffrey Mers.
Erdichek.
Erderchek. Okay. Nate Sirota.
Smith.
Smith. Okay. Shannon Smith. Of course.
Smith.
Okay. and Sarah Worth.
Error check.
Order check, okay. That's 13 for order check and 3 for Smith and 1 abstain. Okay, order check is still the vice chair.
Next, we have the sub-district vice chairs. Sub-district 1 has been led by Jeff Mers. Jeff, are you still willing to do that?
Yes, I am, Chair.
Any other nominations for sub-district 1 vice chair?
All right, may I ask a quick question, Chair?
Sure.
So for the sub-district 3, we have them on the, like on the agenda every single month, but most of the times we never get to them. So it does look bad, first of all, that we never complete our agendas. You know, we're not one of the few boards that doesn't every month. Second, also, even when we do get to them, I've only heard one report from one sub-district chair. So that was my concern, is it seems why we're kind of redundant as to why we have it.
It has been my experience that the sub-district vice chairs work pretty much outside the meeting. They walk their neighborhoods. They send in concerns to not just me, but to our elected officials. Yes, we run over when we don't get an actual report out of them, but I think they are very important to the system. I didn't put it on here to have a vote whether we need them or not. So it's not on the agenda, so we can't really do that tonight. But yes, it does they do have work that they do. And I wish we had time to get to them every meeting. Any other nominations for sub-district 1? Seeing none. Jeff Mers is nominated for sub-district 1.
Again, when I call your name, please say Jeff. Oh, no, Mers. Okay. Ren?
How do you pronounce the name? Hers? What? Hers? Mers?
Mers, yep. Okay. Jillian?
Mers.
Okay. Oh. Oh, Lisa Carbonaro?
Mers.
Okay. Shotaro? Mers. Okay. Corey? Okay. Lewis?
Jeff Mers.
Okay. Melissa?
Mers.
Okay. Robert? Okay. Catherine?
Jeff Mers.
Okay. Tim?
Mers.
Okay. Daniel? Okay. Ken? Okay. Jeffrey?
Mers.
Okay. Nate Sirota?
Jeff Mers.
Okay. Shannon? Mers. Okay. And Sarah? Okay. Okay, that's 16 for Mers and 1 abstention. He's still sub-district 1 chair.
Jillian, you've been sub-district 2. Are you willing to carry on with that? So I nominate Jillian Anderson for sub-district 2. Any other nominations for sub-district 2? Seeing none.
Okay, when I call your name, please say Anderson's name, last name. Oh, I mean, Anderson. Okay, Renee. Oh, Ren, sorry.
Yep. Anderson.
Okay, Jillian.
Anderson.
Lisa.
Anderson.
Shotaro. Corey. Okay, Lewis.
Jillian Anderson.
Okay, Melissa.
Anderson.
Robert. Anderson. Catherine. Tim.
Anderson.
Daniel. Ken. Jeffrey.
Anderson.
Okay. Nate.
Anderson.
Shannon. And Sarah. Abstain. Okay. 16 again and 1 abstain. She is still sub-district 2.
Catherine Hensky, you've been sub-district 3 for a while. Are you willing to continue on sub-district 3? Are there any other nominations for sub-district 3? Yes. None? Nominations are closed then for Sub-District 3. You get to exercise.
Yeah. Okay, so when I call your name, please say Hensky. Okay. Ren?
Hensky, thank you for getting it right.
Jillian?
Hensky.
Okay, Lisa?
Hensky.
Shotaro?
Hensky.
Corey? Louis?
Catherine Hensky.
Melissa? Okay, Robert? Catherine?
Me.
Okay, Tim?
Hensky.
Okay, Daniel? Ken? Jeffrey?
Hensky.
Nate?
Catherine Hensky.
Shannon? And Worth? Sarah? Okay, that's 16 and 1. Okay, she's.
And don't forget Rolf.
Oh, Ralph, sorry. Ralph
Hensky.
Hensky. Okay, that's 16.
Okay, the next on the agenda is the position of secretary. Melissa, are you willing to continue? Is there any other nominations for secretary?
I nominate Melissa.
Okay, here we go.
Melissa.
Okay, when I call your name, please say Melissa. Renee? Jillian?
Melissa.
Okay. Rodolph? Nordal, sorry. Melissa, okay. Lisa Carbonero,
Melissa.
okay. Corey? Okay. Shotaro?
Melissa.
Okay. Louis?
Melissa.
Okay. Melissa? Okay. Robert? Melissa? Okay. Catherine?
Melissa.
Tim?
Melissa.
Daniel? Ken? Jeffrey?
Melissa.
Nate?
Melissa.
Shannon? Can't abstain. And Sarah? Melissa? Okay. That's 16 and 1 abstention. She is still the secretary.
And the last person on the list is the treasurer, who really has no money, no inputs, none of that.
But I've got a candidate for you. Boy, have I got a candidate for you. Lisa.
Wait a minute, I was going to ask Daniel if he's willing to. The purpose of the treasurer, I've been understood, is if the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary are not at a meeting, the treasurer will pick up and chair the meeting.
Accept that nomination
So
heartedly.
do we have any other nominations? It just, it was, was it Lisa or was it Daniel Jacob? That Daniel has been our effective treasurer for a long time. And he's nodding his head. I don't know. You nominate Lisa. That's what it was that you just said. Okay. Seeing no other nominations, nominations are closed and the vote is taking place.
Okay, when I call your name, please say Carbonaro. Ren?
Carbonaro.
Jillian?
Habanero.
Lisa?
Cabanero.
Rolf Nordal? Okay. Shotaro?
Cabanero.
Corey? Louis?
Lisa Cabanero.
Okay. Lisa?
Cabanero.
Robert? Catherine?
Cabanero.
Tim?
Cabanero.
Daniel? Ken? Jeffrey?
Cabanero.
Okay. Nate?
Lisa Cabanero.
Okay. Shannon? Okay. And Sarah.
Lisa, and I'm going to start you off with 1 penny. There you go. There we go.
Okay. That's 17. She's treasurer.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, we have a few more administrative things we have to do. The city and county of Honolulu is in contract with the Waikīkī Community Center to allow us to have meetings here the second Tuesday of each month from 6 to 9 p.m. changing that contract would be difficult, but I think we can do a show of hands on this one, can't we? So I'd like to make a motion that we continue during our meetings as printed on the big piece of paper, the second Tuesday of each month, 6 to 9 p.m.
I second the motion.
Show of hands, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so that's done. Meeting, yeah. I just found out that Veterans Day will fall on our what is it? November meeting? November 11th meeting. What I'd like to do is work with the community center to see if we can reschedule that meeting. And every year we recess in December so you can make your holiday plans. The board is required to meet 9 times a year. Actually, yeah, I mean, we have a mandatory 9 meetings in the neighborhood plan. We meet 11 times, except December. I'd like to make a motion that we do that.
Second that.
Okay. And so I will work on getting us a new date for November to meet. Yeah. So all in favor of meeting every month except December? Show of hands, please. Any opposed? Seeing none. Any abstentions? Remember, I have to find a new date. Adoption rules of speaking. It's hard to keep track of this 2.5 minutes thing that we've been doing. I'd like to recommend that we do a 2-minute limit on speech. The city council does 1 minute. If we have something that we need to cover longer, the chair has the authority to extend that.
Second that.
Any further discussion? I'm sorry, you're not part of the board. You can't vote. I'm sorry. This is, you can speak, well, yeah, you can, I'm sorry, you can speak, but
I was going to applaud him for keeping the time record, and I suggest that you all had either him as a formal timekeeper or someone else as a formal timekeeper. And of course, how many times of speaking can you come back and forth during some kinds of discussions? Usually it's 2 times in other places. So it keeps your meeting moving quickly. And so I applaud him, and I hope he'll continue on as a timekeeper.
any other comments on this? Greg?
Thank you for just being able to make a comment. Being on this board for a little over 2 years and seeing how it operated for that time period and participating in other neighborhood board meetings at other neighborhood boards, what I did recognize here is that timekeeping wasn't something that was done quite regularly or quite fairly. So I'm hoping as this board goes forward in the next 2 years, that you follow a procedure. There is a timekeeper. I addressed this with the NCO office, suggested that you actually get a timepiece that you can put up there that has, maybe red light, like a traffic light, stopwatch kind of thing. You press it, and then it gives people a warning that you're about to be out of time, and that the NCO just pay for that. And you could put it right up at the front, or whoever is the timekeeper could have it there, so that the speaker could see that. And if I was watching it right now and I could see it was going from green to yellow, I would know that I might have maybe 10 or 15 seconds left or whatever it is. And then I would wind down, and everybody then gets the fair amount of time to speak. I hope it's fair this session and going forward in the next 2 years. It wasn't fair in the past. Thank you.
Any other discussion on the 2-minute time limit?
Yeah, Chair, this is Jeff Mers.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I agree with both previous speakers. The timepiece is a great idea. We did it in the past. It seemed to work well. And again, it lets the speaker know they're down to 2 minutes. Sarah, getting back to what you said, we rarely have time for sub-district reports. And I think this is one of the reasons we run over. So I'm going to make an effort to prepare a sub-district report every month, whether we get to it or not, but you bring up a good point. But definitely let's have that timekeeper there. We used to have it. We need to start enforcing 2 minutes. People need to be succinct and quit interrupting and get through these meetings and letting everyone address the issue, and then also getting through all our agenda items. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine, followed by Sarah.
Prior to 2 years ago, we were only at 2 minutes and had been for many years. I agree with what Greg has suggested. I think the idea of a timepiece that would show when the speaker is about to end their time. I would also urge the people in the audience and board members to observe the time limit, and if they're asked to stop speaking, to please stop doing so.
Thank you, Sarah.
So actually, this brings up 2 years ago, when I first joined the board, I actually presented to the NCO. There's a little timepiece, and it goes from, it's like the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, when you speak, it goes from green, and then when you get to like 30 seconds left, it goes to yellow and then red. And so and actually I priced it out. It's about $30. And I suggested to the NCO that every board get one. And the timing is actually 2 minutes. So I was turned down, but maybe if everyone is supporting it, we can get that to happen. Oh, no, that's one last thing. And I love the fact that maybe Jeff Merritt's, what I would love to do, if we could maybe add the sub-district reports, at least to the Google Drive, because that way, if we don't get to it, at least the public can still access that report.
Anson, can you ask the commission office? Can you do that? I still need a vote on the 2 minutes, so all in favor
for the
of 2
vote.
minutes, show of hands. Any opposed? Opposed? So our new rule is 2 minutes. Thank you, everybody. We only do this once a year. Next on our agenda, we have the,
Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
yes,
I'd like to make a motion that for our presenters, our public presenters, that questions be submitted in advance of the meeting. Questions. They
I
can
don't know how
testify.
we'd enforce that.
They
but-
can testify, but if they want their questions to be answered by the representatives during their time speaking, it should be submitted in advance. The question and answers, I mean, I have a motion. I probably need a second before I speak, so.
Okay. Is there a second to the motion that we require people asking questions of our city officials and state officials to provide the question prior to that speaker's time on the agenda? Is that what you said, Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea is we spend 2/3 of our time here and back and forth with our elected officials. I think there's a better way of handling that so we can get to the end of our agenda. That is the bulk of our time, for sure. So
Can we work with you on that? Get a clear definition that we can put in the back or something like that?
sure.
Okay. So Daniel's motion is we want to speed up our meetings by asking people who want to ask our elected officials questions to have them present that in writing or before the elected official gets here. And there is a form we can use for that. So that form is available. And I'll have to include that in the agenda as a condition of okay.
Can I ask Dan a question, or do you want to just do it? I mean, I guess what I don't understand is, so what happens, you're somebody who comes, you're a board member, you're a community member, you come, and somebody says something, and you're sitting there, and you go, oh, I have a question about what this guy just said. So how are you supposed to know in advance necessarily what they're going to say and submit it in writing. So how, wouldn't this be a little unworkable?
That's the purpose of the agenda. The agenda is supposed to notify what the residents are going to, or what subjects are going to be discussed. The requirement that board or anybody submit questions would not negate their ability to speak on items of the agenda. But, you know, another idea potentially is to have NOLA particularly submit her answers in writing. Because again, 65% of our time is spent for the police, back and forth, for NOLA, back and forth, our legislators, and we never get to business, ever. And that's obviously a concern of this board. Multiple people have said it. So where is our time being spent? We need to find a more efficient way to use our time on those items. I've suggested committees in the past. You know, tonight the police took 40 minutes of our time back and forth with the police. So a committee would take that off our agenda and allow it, you know, more expeditiously covered in our board meeting. So that there's ways to, this is our opportunity to find rules to make our meetings more efficient. Requiring people to submit questions in advance. It's not like they can't ask the questions during their 2 minutes and potentially they'll get an answer. But this will pressure people to think of their questions.
I guess maybe you could make it work if people submitted questions, but you didn't necessarily preclude somebody from spontaneously wanting to ask a question. I mean, I think that would be the concern, as long as we don't have a situation where if you didn't submit it in advance, you can't ask it. That will seem.
So my understanding is you have a right to comment on matters on the agenda. People who are not board members don't have the right to ask questions. The board and presenters can entertain questions if they would choose to, but you know, people on the board are supposed to only have comments. That's what the time is, comment on agenda.
Great. Catherine?
I think we're limiting freedom of speech, and part of the reason the boards were formed was to hear what the general public has to say and to bring their concerns forward. It doesn't mean that everybody is going to be able to sit down and write it down for you.
Just a second. John?
You know, I would, for purposes of time, there's not even a second, Chair. There's no motion on the table. So let's just move on.
Okay, there's a motion on the table.
Oh, no, there's no second. Those. Are you withdrawing your motion? Yeah.
I would second.
Now
I thought you said you were going to shelve it, so or table it.
So now my understanding of Roberts is there's a second. So now the motion is before the body. It takes unanimous consent of the body to withdraw the motion, which is before the body. But to the extent I do have 2 minutes here, you know, we need to think of a better way to address the time we spend at these meetings. We need to think of a better way. I don't think anybody can sit here and tell me they don't agree that not getting to the end of our agenda is not a problem. We haven't gotten through an agenda in years. Well, there is one, Chair. I think, Chair, there's one time where we walked out a little bit early even. So we need to come up with ideas. It was just an idea. I'm starting to think it's not going to pass, so we should just take care of this and move on.
Send me a note so I can start working with the NCO to get a clear definition of that.
Sure.
Okay, we're moving on to citizens' concerns not on the agenda. So I've got John standing there. I know that's why you were standing.
Two things. I don't know the correct procedure to get something on the agenda, but I think this zoo parking lot thing, which is getting totally out of control, I think the board needs to take a position on that. I haven't been on a crusade in a while, but if that's a private lot, we need to figure out how to make that a safer place. Seems to be a city entity, the zoo. We should have control over it, but right now it's out of control. And I'd like to see that on the agenda next month, or have a board member put it on the agenda next month. That's number one. And talking about time, a lot of discussion, a lot of time taken about talking about time. My observation is the 3-minute time limit for the presenters sometimes turns into an hour. One in particular goes on 45 minutes to an hour. And so the presenters go way over the 3-minute limit. And a lot of the board members, this is supposed to be for the public, the board members go on their orations from Cicero and various concerns that have nothing to do with the price of tea at China or Waikīkī. And that takes up sometimes half the meeting and the little battles between people. That to me is where the time goes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And, I'd just like to congratulate all the board members on their new elections or re-elections. I see we got a lot of new faces here, so I look forward to working with all of you moving forward. Over the last 5 years that I've been involved both on and off this board, there's been a great upsurge in civic engagement by the Waikīkī neighborhood. We see more and more people coming out from the lows during COVID, where few people came out, few people attended Zoom. We struggled to get candidates. I think when I first ran for the board in 2021, barely 100 votes split for sub-district 2. Now we're regularly getting hundreds of votes. We're getting more people coming. We have more people attending online. And I would like to see over the next 2 years for this term, the board to leverage that community engagement more. There's so much we could be doing. I know, January to May, we're obsessed with the state legislature for session, and rightly so. But I think, there's a lot more that we could be doing. We could be leveraging greater civic engagement by not just residents, but also people who work or own businesses here but might not reside here, by having neighborhood board committees, by having more pigs. We've seen, the pigs sort of work in the past 2 years. Let's try to use them more efficiently the next 2 years. Let's have committees to leverage this greater engagement. I think the community is hungry for positive, to be a positive force for change. And there's so much more we could be doing, having an impact on city council and the various state and county boards that we have. So we're off to a great start, I think. We got a lot of fresh energy here. Let's use it and let's leverage the community more for greater involvement. Thank you.
Yes, hello, Laura Ribby here. First of all, I wanted to ask you, especially the board members, how many of you walked up the ADA ramps today to get to this building, get in here? How many did? How many know friends or relatives or other people that would have used those ramps comfortably? Okay. How do you feel about a ramp that goes up 8 feet up in the air and then comes down 8 feet in the air? It's ADA compliant, but that is compliance. But is that comfortable? Is it something you want to do? The answer is probably not. Okay, what am I talking about? The plans, and I'd like to have you have Roger Morton come and speak to you about this, because the plans are now to go up in the air 8 feet and come down 8 feet. Or if you choose long way, you go 150 feet and finally get up to 12 feet. Okay, that's ADA compliant, but is that a comfortable ADA compliant? That's what the overbuilt bridge is going to do for you folks. That means your homework is to go and find out those things. Roger Morton at the town hall gave just the pat answers, the same one, build 65% build, which that means does he keep the same large thing? But he also said there could be a lower, more modest bridge. Hold him to it. You folks on this side might end up with the aircraft carrier as it's set up now on the Waikīkī side. Is that, if you did your homework, is that what you really want? Could you insist, as the man advocating for good community citizenry? Why don't you ask him to come in and give you some specifics on that? There's, I'll do it very quickly. The people who are on Parks and Rec or have any other familiarity, I watch 40 bags of trash being picked up on the Mauka side. That's every day with a small little Parks and Rec truck. What's happened on the other side? What will happen if you have a conveyance going across? You'll have 40 bags of trash sitting on the Waikīkī side with a truck coming out all the time. That's just maintenance costs. Okay, thank you. Please ask for Roger to come. Thank you.
Aloha, Greg Masakian again. If I didn't say my name earlier, I apologize. Greg Mistaken. I serve as president of the Kakua Council, which is an elder advocacy group in the state of Hawaii since 1972. I also serve on a couple of other boards. And one thing I do want to say, serving on these boards and knowing procedures and following and being on this board for over 2 years, what I see, and I continue to see this evening, is people not really paying attention to the one thing that you're here for, which is really to follow a guideline that was established when this neighborhood board system was established, and that's the neighborhood plan. The neighborhood plan is through the city charter, and it was endorsed and blessed, and it's the rules and procedures and laws that outline what this board is supposed to do when you come here for the meeting agenda, to prepare for these meetings, and to serve the public. And the discussion a moment ago about pre-submitting questions, it goes against the neighborhood plan just from the onset. Public participation, which we don't see much of anymore. I've noticed that it's been waning at this board in Waikīkī, which we should have the most people. It's the most population. That's a concern. We'll get to it in a moment if you ever get to the agenda item, but this agenda is also in violation of the Sunshine Law for a number of things, but one in particular is something that for the third time in a row is on the agenda, where it doesn't even state the city department, the State Department, who is giving the presentation, and it actually states that the presentation is available on the shared Google Drive, and that is item 10B. So hopefully you're not going to be discussing that this evening, but again, it just shows that this neighborhood board is not paying attention to the rules and procedures outlined within the neighborhood board system. Thank you.
Yeah, you had one.
Yeah, my observation of part of the problem with this board, there's way too many people on it. If you ever wanted to get anything done in business, I worked in $1 billion business, and we would never have 15 people sitting around a table discussing anything. 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
17.
12, 17 people. And you expect to get anything done? Are you kidding me? End of statement.
I don't see anybody else, any hands up.
Hello? Am I on? Hello?
Gloria, go ahead.
Good evening. I just had a couple things I wanted to bring up. Back in October of last year, I brought up about the fountains down at the beach park that were not working. They're still not working. So I know it's kind of redundant, but sometimes I think people just need to be reminded. And if this board's supposed to do anything, maybe you can get somebody to do something about that. And next, I've noticed I walk almost every day, and they are now taking away the benches down at the beach park. So if you're a senior citizen and you want to walk around, it's very difficult to sit down for a minute and converse with anybody because there's no benches to sit at. There used to be an L, 2 benches that sat as an L and another one to the side down by McDonald's. There was actually 4 benches there. There is now 1. So you can't sit and talk. You can't sit and do anything. And there's no, 2 of them have disappeared at the King, or Prince Kuhio statue. 2 of them have disappeared, and 2 of them down by the Duke statue have disappeared. And I don't know how many other ones, because I've got a heel spur and I can't walk as much as I used to. But it's very difficult for seniors to be able to enjoy what our taxes are paying for too, if we can't sit down and enjoy it a little bit. And I like to watch the sunset. And that's all I'm going to say. Other than I would like to ask one question about having more than one person in a family on the board. I'm not quite sure how that's permitted or if it should be permitted. but I think that's something that should be looked into. And the comment about the public not being able to speak is totally ridiculous. Have a good evening.
It was echoing. I didn't hear the first question.
Can you repeat the first question? Sorry.
Are you talking about the fountain?
Oh, yes. Oh, the fountain. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else online?
May I speak? Can you see me, Mark During?
Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I wanted to ask if I can make a comment about the bus lane, that red zone that you have all the way going to Kapahulu from Kapahulu down to well, how far does it go down? All the way into Waikīkī. You got this bus lane, and I'm an owner at 2575 Kuhio Crescent Park. And at the last meeting, we had a discussion about all the problems with traffic for people trying to leave building and trying to navigate along Kuhio, and it's caused a huge traffic jam. And I'd like to give input on making a request that the board review modifying that requirement of that massive red zone. It's kind of scary driving down there. It like tries to scare you out of driving in that lane, like you're going to get a $500 fine or something. And that people shouldn't be fined if they need to travel. There's a lot of high-rise buildings in Waikīkī that people need to go to work. They need to come home from work. It's almost like putting bike lanes in the middle of the street to take away a traffic lane. And this is the same thing that I believe you're doing. I ran for Congress in 1996 against Neil Abercrombie and Mr. Swindell. And I'm also, I know Melissa Filik. She's my realtor and friend, great person. And I'm trying to, she lives in the building, and she was on the board of directors, and Shannon Smith's on the board of directors. And we're all very concerned about being able to come and go from our building and not be hindered by like a 15-minute city. I mean, that's what they're creating by creating this bus lane. It's ridiculous. Why are you already took away the rights for people to not have transient units in all of Waikīkī except the Banyan and the Waikīkī Sunset. And because you're so concerned about residents, but yet you're not even showing any concern, in my opinion, about people being able to come and go. The egress and access to Waikīkī becomes impossible. And I don't know what the purpose of who did this. Is it the transportation department? Is there something we can do on the neighborhood board level and try to get them to remove that red zone there, and we can get traffic back to normal again? I appreciate being able to speak to you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else online? Sorry, we have a very small screen here to see who's. Okay, I have nobody else online. And that'll be what, the third or fourth time we've talked bus lane tonight.
Just to piggyback on Mark's comment real quick, it's anyone taking notes, it's a safety issue, especially for those of us at Crescent Park, because the traffic backs up from Kapahulu all the way down to Ohua. And so when you're trying to pull in and out of our building, one, we have a steep ramp that goes down onto Kuhio, and then two, we've got a covered parking garage that comes out onto Kuhio, and there's no vision. You can't see around through this traffic to turn from the other side of Kuhio into our parking garage. So one, it's a safety issue if you're going to get sideswiped or T-boned by a bus or a car that's coming speeding through that bus lane. And then two, if we're pulling out, we can't get out because the traffic is so backed up, nobody's letting us into that line of traffic. So sometimes we could sit there through a couple of traffic lights before somebody even lets us in to get out of the building.
Okay, I will certainly get to the city, and we had Renee on earlier. I don't know if she's still on there, but Renee, can you folks bring us information at our next meeting? Are you
Yeah,
still there?
I'm here, Chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the emails from the Crescent Park folks and sorry, my kid's having a total meltdown. And are probably gonna, we need to look at possibly restoring the double left. I think that'll fix the problem. But we're looking at it. We hear you. We hear the problem and we're
Okay, I'll put you and
looking at ways to fix it.
department on our next agenda. so
What's
you
the
can hear
date
from-
for that?
That would be August, just a second. Yeah, August 12th. And
Okay.
we'll have you on by the mayor's presentation.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
that sounds good.
I mean, I think there's more than just our issue. There's multiple issues with pedestrians. You can't make a left anywhere you have to make a left across. There's no way to do it. So they altered no traffic lights, no additional turn arrows, or no pedestrians. So if they barely can get through if there's cars, and if the cars aren't coming, pedestrians never pay attention and walk all the way through the stop sign. So the whole street is a mess. So it needs to be looked at not just on our end, and my view, and from driving it almost daily, it's pretty much, there's major issues. Ulunu, why are we stopping for Ulunu light? Because the traffic is going the opposite. Ulunu is one way to the ocean. So you have the Kuhio stopped for no one. I've never been able to figure that out. It's crazy. So there's many problems with this than just our end, but yeah, I can't even get out of my driveway or pull into my driveway. I just have to go way around or drive in the bus lane, and I really don't want to do that, but I have no choice.
Which driveway are you talking about?
At the end by Denny's, and anybody getting in and out of Denny's. If I were Denny's, I'd
So
be throwing a fit too, because no one can, to pull into Denny's, you have to get into the bus lane.
That's fine. You have to use the bus lane to turn into driveways. So if it's like a block, like shorter than a block distance, that's what the bus lane is for. Is to access, for general vehicles, they can turn into it to make a right turn, at an intersection, or if you're going to a hotel, you use the right lane to turn. That's state law, right? You turn into and out of the closest travel lane. So that's totally allowable, to get to the driveway, as long as it's clear and safe.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see you at the next meeting on
right.
that.
Okay, thanks for the feedback.
Okay, moving along. Major parades and street events. There may be a little earlier setup time for some of these, but according to the schedule I get, Saturday, July 12th, 9 to 11 is a Family Day Parade. Saturday, July 19th, 2 p.m. to midnight, Summer of the Ocean Festival, whatever that might be. Sunday, July 27th, from 5 to 10 a.m., Nawahini Sprint Triathlon, Kapilani Park area. Saturday, August 9th, 6:30 in the morning till 10 in the morning, the 2025 Heart Walk, and that's primarily in the Kapilani Park area. Sunday, August 10th, 5:30 to 10 a.m., Norman Tamahana 15K, and that's again Kapilani Park. Sunday, August 24th, 9:45 to 1 p.m. Is the annual Dick Evans Memorial Bike Ride, and it's all over the place. You'll see bikes everywhere. Saturday, September 6th, 2 p.m. to midnight, Waikīkī Street Jam. And for those of you who've been watching the Kalia Road reconstruction, they begin again on the 7th of August with the positioning the equipment, and Kalia Road will effectively be closed for about 3 months. So if you have to travel around Kalia Road around the polycoa around the hotels and in that area by Kalia and Saratoga. It's going to be a mess for a while. Elected officials, mayors, sorry. Oh, Sarah, I'm sorry.
Right. Just a quick comment, and sometimes you have to say things so that way it can be included in the video summary afterwards. Just so you know, heads up, Mr. Timgary, on the Family Day Parade on July 12th, the lane closures start at 7:30 a.m. So heads up on that one. And then two other ones, lane closures start at 12:30. That's the September 6th one and the July 19th, the midnight summer. So just guys heads up, that's when the lane closures start, so beware.
I tried to get 1 month ahead on these, so later in September, we'll have to look at that in August. Anyway, I got a message from Mayor's Representative Nola Miyazaki. She is not with us tonight. She did submit a written report. It's quite extensive. Yeah. Sure.
You want the whole thing or just the issue follow-up? Okay. The mayor's newsletter has some highlights. That's the first half of the page. Proposed town hall member Lee requested an update on the proposed town hall regarding the early trash pickup. The managing director's office said we are coordinating towards the trash pickup meeting happening sometime this summer. The first half of the year is extremely busy with the budget, and now that is close to final, we can move with more intent on this item. Police Commission. Resident asked how a resident can be appointed as a commissioner at the Honolulu Police Commission. What are the qualifications, detailed information, appointment process, and what can a commissioner do? Office of the Mayor said if anyone is interested in joining a board or commission, a baseline requirement is to be a registered voter. The first step would be to look for any vacancies, and these can be found online at honolulu.gov, city boards and commissions. From there, you can view the members' responsibilities, vacancies, and any special qualifications for each of the city's boards and commissions. If you're interested in a board or commission with a vacancy, you can submit a cover letter and a resume to the MD office at honolulu.gov. And then it just says when your cover letter and resume is sent in, what happens. Honolulu Police Department. The Honorable Mayor of the City and County of Honolulu appoints Honolulu Police Commissioners with confirmation from the City Council. The Honolulu Police Commission is made up of 7 individuals known as commissioners. These individuals serve staggered terms of 5 years, volunteer their services, do not receive salaries or other forms of compensation. Per the City and County of Honolulu City Boards and Commissions webpage, if you want to apply for a position on a city board or commission to include the Honolulu Police Commission, again, send your cover letter and your resume to mdoffice@honolulu.gov. 436 Ena Road, resident raised concerns there are people illegally living in the condemned building on 436 Ena Road. From HPD, June 18th to June 28th, 2025, District 6 Waikīkī officers conducted multiple checks of the building at 436 Ena Road and the surrounding area. They found no signs of any homeless encampments or people living there illegally. However, they did find that the building is not securely locked and is accessible from the back stairwells. The front gate is removable, allowing access to the door handle to open the front entrance. If people are observed living illegally at 436 Ena Road in the future, please call 911 and meet with the responding officer so that anyone inside can be located and addressed. Graffiti, a resident asked to remove the graffiti on the abandoned building at 436 Ena Road. Department of Facility Management, this question is not for Department of Facility Management, as this is a building that is not maintained by DFM. It is unknown who owns the building, but it would be the owner's responsibility to maintain the structure, including the graffiti. Perhaps DPP can require the building's owner to remove the graffiti. Street sweeping, a resident wanted more information regarding the permit that mandates the Department of Facility Maintenance to do street sweeping twice a week from Monday and Friday, and asked if DFM can switch the days for street sweeping. And this DFM said this question may best be answered by the Department of Facility Maintenance Stormwater Quality that acquired the city's National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit that was issued by the State Department of Health. That includes requirements for street sweeping. There is believed to be an annual mileage of street sweeping that is required to be performed by the city, but not aware of any restriction on the days of the week that the street sweeping can be performed. The specific days of the parking restriction might have been set by the Department of Transportation Services. That sounds like two different departments. Bathroom. Member Erdachek requested more portable toilets or facilities open during and after events. Erdachek had a hard time finding a bathroom after a showing from the Sunset on the Beach event. The Departments of Parks and Rec said that they do not require Sunset on the Beach events to provide extra portable toilets as part of their permit, nor has it had in past events. The comfort station closest to the Sunset on the Beach event in May was unexpectedly closed due to electrical issues out of our control and contributed to the lack of restrooms for that particular event. Left turn arrows. A resident asked about the criteria of installing a left turn traffic light on Kuhio, and the Department of Transportation said left turn signals are installed at intersections based on key operational and safety criteria. These typically include high volumes of left turn and opposing through traffic, a history of left turn related collisions, limited sight distance, and excessive delay for left turning vehicles. This decision is guided by traffic engineering studies. Traffic evaluations. Residents and board members asked DTS to conduct a traffic assessment on Kuhio Ave between Liliuokalani Avenue to Kapahulu Avenue. To reduce traffic, they suggested installing left lanes or left traffic lights at the intersections on Kuhio to reduce the traffic. DTS is currently in the process of conducting a left turn study on Kuhio Avenue between Liliuokalani and Kapahulu Avenues. This will include research, site inspections, and an analysis of the area's traffic collision history. To ensure an accurate assessment, the evaluation will take place once schools resume in the fall. Department of Transportation will share their findings with the board by the end of the year. Bus stop. Requested bus route 8 extend its routes to Kahala Mall. DTS said the existing bus service between Waikīkī and Kahala Mall is provided by routes 2 and 2L, Kalihi, Waikīkī, Kahala. Ridership shows insufficient demand to warrant adding any more service to Kahala Mall, so they will not extend route 8, the Makiki, Ala Moana, Waikīkī to Kahala Mall at this time. That's it. Any questions for the mayor's office?
Okay, Anson is taking notes of questions asked that will go to the mayor. Okay, thank you. Moving along. Thank you. That was wonderful. I don't see Council Member Tommy Waters on the screen. Is there any of his representatives there? Okay. I see Senator Moriwaki's representative is on the screen.
Hi, I believe the representative from Councilmember Tommy Waters is present, but is having audio difficulties if I'm seeing him correctly. Mr. Adam Dew, I believe.
Okay, do you have a report from Senator Moriwaki?
Sure, I can do that in the meantime. Hello, my name is Alexandra Ozawa. I work with Senator Moriwaki as her legislative liaison. We just got word from the governor that he's completed his vetoes and signing the last remaining bills he's going to sign into law. And the Senate had considered going into special session. The leadership, however, determined that would not be necessary. So although there were many bills that the senator cared about that are remaining vetoed, we are going to be looking into what can be done with these bills for the next legislative session. And we're also just working on new bills in the meantime during the legislative interim. If there's any questions for the senator, I can take them back. Thank you very much.
Questions for Senator Moriwaki? Don't see any here. Do you see any there? Okay, thank you for being with us and wish the senator safe travels when she's coming home.
Can do, thank you.
Hello, Chair. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
I have a question, what Melissa
Yeah, go
read
ahead.
from NOLA. I think she stated that she doesn't know who belongs or who owns 436 Anna Road. Is that what she said in the, okay. I looked it up. It says city and county. And and the tax bill goes to 530 South King Street, which is the tax office. The tax office, the address, the tax bill.
530 King Street, City and County office.
Right, correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next would be Representative Adrian Tam, who I understand is also traveling. Do you have a representative here tonight, sir?
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, this is Flora for Representative Tam. He is attending a fellowship at Harvard. Very exciting. Regarding the Enna Road property, I believe Adam can give you an update. We did request a riser for that property. As far as our office is aware, it is owned by the city and county. I think Adam was able to get connected, so he can give you an update about that. Otherwise, our office does not have any other updates. We're pretty much in the same situation as Senator Milwaukee. Final vetoes happen tomorrow. We are already drafting legislation for 2026. That includes things about short-term rentals, maybe shoring up some environmental protections for the district, and any other concerns you may have, feel free to email us now, or anytime before December is a great time. And I can take any questions back to the representative.
Laura, could you, we have a lot of new board members, and the term riser has come up several times tonight. Could you tell us what, I think I know what that is, but you could explain to the board members?
I think Adam would probably be the better person to explain exactly what it is, but it's a request for investigative services report. And I think, Adam, are you, is your audio working now? Do you want to kind of explain that process? It's a city and county process. So, you're always welcome to write to our office, but if it's a city and county issue, we can't necessarily take any immediate action on it. We have to have because it's in the city's purview. So what we usually do is we will work together with like Councilmember Waters' office to submit a request for services or a report. And a lot of times what I end up doing is I will write to both Adam and folks at Tommy Waters' office, and then I will also submit like a Honolulu 311 for you, just to create that extra sort of like virtual paper trail, so that I can have something to check back on about where the status of things is. But I think that's a kind of a good transition to let like Adam give his report and talk about risers.
That was a long answer to something I thought would be very simple, but basically it's something you use to ask for information, I believe is what that does. Any other questions for Representative Tam's office? I don't see any hands. Thank you, Flora, for being with us tonight, and wish the representative safe travels home. I know he's way far away from us. Moving on, we're still waiting to see if Tommy Waters is on.
Aloha, Chair. Can you hear me?
Are you there?
Hi, Chair. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, Adam. Yes.
Okay, great. Aloha, Chair Finley and members of the Waikīkī Neighborhood Board, Adam Du from the Office of Council Chair Tommy Waters. We did email out our newsletter earlier today, and it can also be found on the City Council's website. I did want to welcome the new board members, Nate, Ren, Shannon, Tim, Corey, and Ralph. I will learn your name pronunciations. I did want to thank you for your service, and we look forward to working with you and the board. I did want to mention that Chair Waters, before his time as a state representative and a council member, he was a member of the neighborhood board. Since Director Mori Miyazaki, excuse me, wasn't here, I can provide some more excuse me, city constituent updates. It was reported that there was a dead tree that was removed near Alawai Canal near the convention center, and that was not replaced. The Department of Parks and Recreation has since replaced the tree. Excuse me. We did submit a request to CSD for don't feed feral chicken signs at Centennial Park. We also submitted a request to DTS requesting that they evaluate the Kuhio and Kapukulu Avenue intersection light timing to address, excuse me, the backed up traffic on Kuhio Avenue. I do want to encourage the board to please continue to work with Renee. Renee and her team, her Complete Streets team, are really responsive. Excuse me, I'm just going to take a quick sip of water. Regarding 1615 Alawai Boulevard, tomorrow the mayor will hold a press conference followed by the demolition of the existing building. The full demo of the structure is expected to continue through August. As you know, the city acquired the property through condemnation in January of 2024, addressing decades of concerns from the neighborhood board and community. 1615 Alawai Boulevard is just one of many exciting and affordable housing projects coming down the pipeline from the city. And Bill 4625 passed its first reading and will be heard in committee later this week. Bill 46 requires the HPD to develop and implement a strategic plan and internal procedures for the release of certain information to the media and public, and provide local media outlets with access to HPD dispatch radio communications. Regards to 436 Enna Road, that is correct. It is a city property. The department is aware of the graffiti. If you guys are familiar with that graffiti, it's very large. It's really high up. Because it was so costly to remove it, and the city departments just don't have that type of equipment to remove it, it did have to be contracted out. So there's a whole procurement process for that. And I think it might be too costly. We'll have a director provide an update on that, because it has gotten pretty complicated, but we do understand the community's frustrations with that. And then lastly, I just want to say that in June, Council Chair Waters conducted a walking tour in Waikīkī alongside WBID President Trevor Arbarzua and his team, HPD Major Brandon Ogata, the Waikīkī policing team, Senator Moriwaki, and community leaders, as well as Florida from Rep. Tam's office, to get a firsthand look at the key problems for our residents and visitors. We're committed to working closely with the Major and WBID to address some of the issues that we saw, such as illegal peddling, and also concerns about safety and upkeep. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Questions for Chair Waters? Catherine?
Catherine Hensky. The property on 1615 Alawai, one of the concerns when the city acquired that property by the surrounding neighbors is that that would become affordable housing. Can you tell me what the plans are for that property?
Yes, I believe the plans still are to develop it into affordable housing for the community.
Excuse me, but that was the one thing that the community was assured would not happen when they first testified against the building. They were assured that there would not be affordable housing there.
Okay, let me double check on that.
Sarah,
You know that we received, hi, sorry, Sarah speaking. We received a flyer. I don't know if you all remember this. We got one from, for the Ena Road project and for the 1615 LOI. I can add this maybe to the Google Drive, because the city and county gave us a little rundown and the latest update about what they're doing with the property. Shucks, 1615. Gosh, do you remember, Anson? It was the same day they gave us the Ena Road one. Oh, no, so the day that they handed out these flyers, they gave us flyers for both those properties. So I just can't recall which, I can look it up for you, Catherine, but I'll put it in the Google Drive. Is that cool, Anson? All right, sweet, appreciate it.
Jacob,
Thank you, Chair. Aloha. Jacob Winsek here. In advance of tomorrow's city council meeting, there's a couple of bills I'd like to speak about. First up is our bills 49 and 50. First, Bill 49 would specifically provide older homeowners with property tax relief by increasing the exemption. And then Bill 50, which is a nice pairing with Bill 49, would increase the general exemption for property tax. You know, as a homeowner myself, definitely, we face a lot of pressure in terms of cost of living, in terms of affordability. And, you know, any relief we can have on this is, you know, very much needed. And I see that the council chair and council member Okamoto proposed these bills together. They're moving them forward. I think they'll have a good chance of passing. But, you know, I definitely want to lend my public support to those bills. And then a little bit out of Waikiki's wheelhouse, downtown Honolulu for the last year and a half has been working towards creating their own business improvement district. And Bill 51, pending before the council tomorrow, will be a step in that direction to help establish this business improvement district. And I love when, you know, private citizens, civically minded businesses are given the chance to contribute to addressing our city's challenges. Government can't do everything, and I strongly encourage the council chair to support Bill 51 for a downtown business improvement district. It's done a great job here in Waikīkī. We've got a great leadership team here that's making it work, and I hope the best that downtown can benefit the same way we've benefited here. Thank you.
anything else for Council Chair Waters?
I have a question, Mark During again. The building on 1615 Alloway, is that the old gym and the one-story building there?
2 stories.
What is it? Is it that one-story building there that sat vacant for years? Like it was a unit building or something? Is that it?
It's a 2-story walk up and there was more than one building on the property.
And where is it located exactly? Is it on the block after 1551 Alloway?
Well, it must be somewhere there because I don't know that exact address, but as you go down the alleyway towards Ala Moana Boulevard, you would make a left-hand turn and there are several nice, well-kept 2-story walk-ups in that area. This one had been let go for a number of years. And it wasn't until Allison Schaefer and actually myself drew attention to it with Tommy Waters. And the public came out in great force, wanting reassurance that this would not turn into an affordable housing project.
So my question is how come nobody's asking how tall the building they're proposing, what the units consist of, what parking are they providing, how much is the cost of the building? I didn't hear any of those questions, so I'm curious what the answer, Adam, would be to those questions if you have them. Didn't you say that they're already voting for it? They're in their second reading or something. Didn't you just say that?
Ellen, are you still there?
Hi, Chair. Yes, I'm still here. So it's a 3-story walk-up. We don't know what the plans are for the site. Besides, it will be a future affordable housing for the city.
Yeah, but what is it? Where are they voting on it already? I mean, how can they be voting on it without putting up plans, putting up costs? Are they just preliminarily approving it? I mean,
So
what's the process? How many?
there's nothing in front of the city council right now. The city council did condemn this land several years ago. Now we're just in the process of clearing the current building. It would be too costly to restore the current building, so they're demolishing the space for affordable housing.
Is there parking provided? Because it's affordable, often they avoid providing parking.
I do not have any plans, nor are there. I don't believe there are any plans right now set.
Will it be reviewed before the Waikīkī Neighborhood Board before they proceed any further?
Most certainly, it would be presented before the neighborhood board, yes.
And how soon do you expect that might happen?
That would be a good question for the neighborhood board rep, director Mirawaki.
Thank you. Question?
Not as much a question as much as some clarification. So it's the road that's just past Lipepe Street, right before you make that, right before Alawai dead ends at Ala Moana Boulevard. It's on the Diamond Head side of Alawai Boulevard. It is a 3-story walk-up. There's other 3-story walk-ups, but this one sticks out because it is covered in graffiti and it is very obviously dilapidated and derelict. As Adam mentioned, there is the press conference tomorrow where they're talking about demolition. I'd recommend that we request a update from the Department of Housing and Land Management regarding that. That's the agency that's going to be overseeing the development of that affordable housing. And the benefit of that would be them talking about 1615 Alawai and then also 436 Enna Road, because I believe that is under their jurisdiction as well, because I think that is affordable housing, if I'm not mistaken. So they can potentially speak to both of those issues if they are present at the next meeting.
So Adam, you got that? And can pass that on to the council chair?
Yes, I will pass that on with Chair Waters. I'll also work with NOLA on getting a representative to speak to the neighborhood board as well. Thank you. Thank you, Nate.
I couldn't hear that.
What time is that tomorrow?
I believe tomorrow it is at 10 a.m.
Where?
at 1615 Alawai Boulevard at the site.
Thank you.
And just a personal thought, it would also make a great dog park. For a lot less money. Anything else for council chair? Seeing nothing else, seeing no hands, seeing nothing. Thank you very much, Adam. I hope you feel better.
Thank you, Chair.
Governor's representative will not be with us tonight. She is also traveling. Rick Eggett will not be with us tonight. He is tied up. Board business. I've asked Trevor from the Waikīkī Business District Improvement Association to give us about a 15-minute annual update. For those of you that don't know who they are, he will explain that to you. Basically, they're the people that are cleaning the streets. They're the ones in the bright yellow shirts. They're the Aloha ambassadors. And I'll just talking until he gets loaded up here. And it looks like it's loaded.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Chair Findley, and thank you, Waikīkī Neighborhood Board. Sorry about that. Yeah, my name's Trevor Abruzzo. I'm the President and Executive Director of the WBID, as Chair said, better known as the Aloha Ambassadors that you guys see out there. Before I jump into the presentation for the new board members, and it's great to meet you all. I know some of your faces and some of you have been at some of our meetings, but we are a business improvement district. And what that is, it's a national model that most downtowns around the country have. And Waikīkī is essentially kind of the downtown in terms of foot traffic, in terms of activity. So, but how we're funded, and we're not government and we're not a private business. We're a 501c3. But we're funded through commercial property assessments. So all the commercial properties in Waikīkī 25 years ago, they agreed to assess themselves more than the property tax. And all that money gets put into a bucket essentially at the city and then given to us as a nonprofit. So we get around between like $4 and $5 million, depending on the valuations, to put back into the community. And our mission is clean and safe, Waikīkī. You know, bids around the country, they could spend their money on events or activation or marketing, but we spend our money solely on making sure it's cleaner and safer in Waikīkī. And what we do is we provide supplemental services. So we don't take the jobs of police. We don't take the jobs of parks employees. You know, city is still operating like the city does. We just kind of sprinkle in extra on top for the district. So, so we're okay. We're going to get that up soon. Yeah, but what we what we kind of have been, what I want to go over today too, now that I kind of gave that spiel, is what we're doing that is new, right? We have the ambassador program. We've been doing things and partnering with HPD and homeless services, specifically IHS, but I'll talk about the new initiatives that we're doing. And I think what you could kind of view us as is we're kind of the convener as well for the community when it comes to, I know the neighborhood board has a voice and you guys kind of push things forward and represent the community that way. But I think what we do from the kind of the commercial business community side, but then us meeting with residents, you know, I meet with Sarah sometimes to walk around, I meet with John quite a bit. So we do meet and talk with residents and just how to make the place better and then represent, again, the business community with the mayor's office, with the governor's office to kind of advocate for better services in Waikīkī. So if we go to the next slide. So yeah, I wanted to touch on the Safe and Sound initiative. And, you know, it's a partnership between the Waikīkī Business Improvement District, HPD, and the prosecuting attorney's office, as well as the mayor's office. And back about 2.5 years ago now, they got together when COVID was ending and when all the tourists went away and the streets were empty, you know, people came into Waikīkī, whether that was homeless individuals, whether that was people that wanted to do crimes of opportunity and, you know, rob ABC store, rob all these different stores. And so we needed a revitalization plan to take the streets back and really reduce crime. So these stats here are from the year before Safe and Sound started. So where crime was at post-COVID. So between September 2021 to September 2022, comparing it to this past year of June to June of 24 to 25. And you see a lot of the green, which is good, it's decreases. So, you know, 30% decrease in crime on burglaries, 54% on vandalism or graffiti or property crime. You know, drugs offenses are down 43%. You know, things like kidnapping are down 33%, but nonetheless, I feel like it was a concerted effort to really address crime and kind of, again, the role that we played was being that convener of trying to partner with, you know, prosecuting attorney and HPD and saying, what kind of gaps do we need to fill? Are you guys communicating? And that's where we provided assistance, but we're really proud of these numbers. Again, it's not perfect out there, but I think when, you know, and I nitpick every day when I'm walking around like, oh, you know, this is happening, that's happening. But I kind of have to meditate a little and remember what it was like maybe in 2017 or what it was like in 2021 when homelessness was out of control, crime was out of control, and where we're at now. So we're really proud of that. We're keeping on working on Safe and Sound, and then we want to do new initiatives here in the next year. So if we go to a new slide, this is something that we just launched in January, which we're super excited about, super proud of, and it's a partnership between the WBID and Waikīkī Health, which is another community organization right next door. And what we thought is, you know, IHS provides great outreach services, shelter services, and they do so in Waikīkī, and we do provide them a grant, and we work hand in hand. But a lot of what we were observing was on the mental health piece. You know, people are very mentally ill. They might be having episodes in the street, and you can't really talk to them, right? You can't say, hey, we want to get you services, we want to help you out, because they're not there, right? So what we did is we partnered with Waikīkī Health to have a doctor and a nurse and a insurance navigator come and walk the streets with our ambassadors, with our outreach team to identify some of these individuals and then give them medication literally on the street corner, write them a prescription right there. They have the medications in their backpack and they're able to do so as long as they voluntarily say, yes, I want the help. And we've been able to help over 106 people from January until now. And 21 established healthcare consistently at Waikīkī Health. We got them into services. We got them off the street. 15, we were able to give the antipsychotic medication, which is a shot right in their arm, and it's long lasting. It's a long lasting injectable, lasts around between 3 to 6 months, depending on the individual. But that sort of gets them out of the psychosis. And then you're able to get them into housing, get them back to their family, get them back on their feet. So 15 in the last few months, and then 8 relocations, which that is kind of something that we're tracking now. And I know you hear about the state level that they're paying for people to go back. But at the Waikīkī BID, we talked about the budget we have, but we felt it was important to really put our money where our mouth is in terms of relocating people that are not from Waikīkī or they're not from Oahu or Hawaii back to their community on the mainland. Because a lot of the people that we see in Waikīkī from a homelessness perspective, again, are not from here, or they recently got here, whether it was the last couple months, maybe they got here 2 years ago. They tried to make it out here. Maybe they tried to get a job or they tried to get an apartment. It didn't work. And then a ticket back is, $300, $400 one way. So they're stuck. So rather than having them stuck and then the cost to the taxpayer being tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars every time they go to the ER, every time they go to jail, right? We'll send them back to be with their family. So in only the past few months, right, since January, we sent 8 people back, and that's from the WBID, and then the IHS does it, the state does it. So we're very happy and very proud. We want to really ramp that up in the coming years. And something that we want to do, and we're about to kick off as well, is partnering more with the judiciary and the judges. You always hear about partnerships with, HPD or partnerships with the prosecutors, but the judges are just as much a big piece of the pie to this. And how can maybe, and I'm not a lawyer, but we want to partner with the judges on from a probation perspective, where they could put in a probation to say, you will meet with WBID's outreach worker and work out a plan to go back home to the mainland, or you will work on a plan to get into housing. So it's kind of this warm handoff that someone goes to jail, they're in front of a judge, and they say, okay, before you're released, we're going to call over the WBID outreach worker, and they're going to sit down with you, and they're going to come up with a plan to get you back on your feet. So that's something we're working towards with the judiciary, and we're excited to hopefully partner with some judges here in the future. So next slide. Yep, outreach in action. You may have seen these people walking around. We have Susan on our team on the bottom right with the nurses. We have Dr. Louie, you see with the jacket on the left. So, and Alexis is the CEO of Waikīkī Health in the middle on the bottom. So we go every Wednesday. If anyone wants to come and kind of tag along and see what's up, happy to have you along. So next slide. We meet usually at St. Augustine Church at around 9 a.m. Yeah. So, and reach out via email too, if you'd like to come. And this is our homeless count numbers. So we want to track data, right? We know that things are getting better, but we can't just talk about it and not have the true data behind it. And it's not just even our ambassadors going around counting or volunteers, but we partner with the University of Hawaii's School of Urban Planning, and we pay for a scientific study. And we've been doing it, I believe, the last 18 years in Waikīkī. And you can see the numbers, and this is just from 2022. So since we started really working on this with Safe and Sound until now, and our most recent count was the first week of June, and we counted 159 individuals, which, that's a good amount. That's still a lot. There's a lot of work to do. But if you compare it to September of 2022, when Safe and Sound kicked off, we had 251 individuals in Waikīkī. And that's like greater Waikīkī, right? You see kind of Kapiolani Park, you see the Alawai Golf Course, and you also see Ala Moana Park, right? But so we've seen a 37% reduction in homelessness in Waikīkī from June 2025 to September 2022. So, and a 13% reduction since October of last year. Again, really proud. But if you just talk about the core of Waikīkī, where all you guys live, right? Number 1, 2, and 4, it's almost a 66% reduction in homelessness in that time. So I think it has a lot to do with the work we're doing on the homelessness piece on the outreach side, but also on enforcement, right? HPD has really stepped up the enforcement. Our ambassadors are making it harder to be able to just kind of sit on the sidewalk. We have a sit and lie law here, and we really enforce that. But it's kind of it's a poke and help, right? We want to get these people to say, hey, you can't have this behavior here, but we are willing to put you into shelter. We are willing to get you connected with a doctor. We're willing to buy your plane ticket home, but you can't do that here in Waikīkī. Next slide. So another, I don't know if we missed one, no, but No, okay, next one. Okay, so another new initiative for this year that we're going to launch in August is called the Safety Response Team. And we have our Aloha ambassadors, as you all know, with the bright neon shirts, and they're trained to be nice. They're Aloha ambassadors. They're trying to help tourists find the beach. They're trying to help residents, maybe with a flat tire. But we also kind of do sort of safety patrols, but it's more on the lighter side, right? But we've noticed, along with you guys, that with HPD's numbers dwindling in terms of police on the street, that we really kind of have that lack of beat cop presence that you normally would see maybe a decade ago or 20 years ago in downtowns, where you have that cop on the corner walking around, chatting with residents, or you have a bike cop maybe going up and down in busy areas. We don't really have that anymore. And it's because of the lack of officers in all of Oahu, but especially D6. And our officers are doing a great job responding to calls. And when we call them, they are really doing a great job. But we want to help supplement that and add a little bit more sprinkles. So we want to add more of a beefier security team that'll have body cameras to be able to be better witnesses in court. You know, we talked about court, but we want to track some of these interactions that we're having with some of the chronic troublemakers or chronic habitual crime offenders. So they'll have a body camera on their uniform. They're going to be doing consistent trainings with HPD to make sure they're aligned with when to call HPD, maybe when to not call HPD, when to use kind of that verbal judo to get someone to maybe get up off the sidewalk if they're laying there with all their things, or maybe if they are, you know, drinking in public or in the park and causing a nuisance, to, hey, these are park rules, you cannot do this here, and to use that kind of assertiveness to change behavior. So we want to help supplement that BCOP presence, but I will put a caveat though, they are not police, right? They cannot arrest people. They're not going to be tackling people and handcuffing them. It is just more of a beefier security element. And we've kind of observed this in other districts around the country. You know, we went out to Hollywood, California, where they are kind of having, you know, the same sort of issues. They have, their BID has implemented this. Union Square, San Francisco, Nashville, Tennessee. So it's kind of a nationwide trend, and we want to invest in that. So next slide. All right. And then another thing that we're kind of implementing is more work on private property. Right? We focus on the public rights of way because the private properties have their own you know, staffs that can do things, and we are for the public right of way. But if we could do assistance and be kind of reimbursed for that assistance at a really, really reasonable rate for a nonprofit, we could assist private properties with things. And one of the things that we started as a pilot was trespassing, right? Especially in doorways. And I forget what the address is, and maybe John Dutzman can help me out on this, but this is one of the, on Kuhio Ave, and there's all the graffiti over by, I think it's Princess Kailani Park. It's like a triangle park, and there's crazy amount of graffiti. And there was just like maybe 20 individuals always trespassing that area, always sleeping in the doorways, leaving a mess, doing graffiti, causing issues. And we signed that building up for this private property trespass. So every night our team goes out there and says, hey, this is private property, you cannot be here. And if they say no, like, you know, go away, then we could call HPD and represent that property as, hey, I'm the security guard, I have this legal document, and you guys need to leave. So it's worked. We've piloted it at a few different places, but we're willing to roll it out more, especially the more funding we get. And as well as private property assistance, whether it's graffiti as well. I know you guys maybe all have HOAs, and you know, someone does graffiti, got to call some contractor. It might take 2 weeks, and it's going to cost all this money. And we have a team that does graffiti on the public rights of way, and our rule is we get it out in 12 to 24 hours. And if it's at 18 hours, we're calling saying, hey, you guys got to hustle up. So that's something that we might want to partner with private residential buildings. Again, if it's up to the HOA, but this is kind of a service that we want to keep rolling out to better Waikīkī, and especially all the rights of way. So next. Yeah, Adam Dew with Chair Waters' office brought it up already, but we had a great walk with Chair Waters and Senator Moriwaki on the illegal vending going on, especially on Kalakaua. You see all these tour bicycles and tour you know, kiosks that park right in front of businesses, and it's really causing a nuisance for the businesses, but I know for the residents as well, it's just annoying. They're really aggressive. They're always you know, getting in people's face trying to make a sale, and it's not fair as well to the other rate paying, or they pay rent in a hotel to sell their tours, or they pay their taxes, and I don't know if these guys are. So Share Waters, I know, is on it in terms of the enforcement. I know HPD and Major Ogata is well aware, and they've done a few enforcements of it the last few weeks. So it's something we're addressing. And this year we want to have our ambassadors step up and help even more. Next slide. Yeah, and you guys, I think Mike Lambert already talked about this with you guys, so I don't need to go over it. But we're partnering with the State Department of Law Enforcement on a real-time crime center for Waikīkī, and that'll be run by the state police. I think it's called Department of Public Safety and Director Lambert. But the real where we want to come into play and help out is, I think we have currently 30 security cameras in Waikīkī that HPD can tap into, which is great. But I think Chinatown has maybe 70 or 90. They have about double of us. And I think we have probably maybe quadruple the amount of foot traffic and the amount of incidents that they have. So what we want to do is be able to have the private cameras from businesses. All the hotels and all the businesses have hundreds, maybe not thousands of cameras around Waikīkī that the police are able to tap into, whether it's for evidence or whether it's for an active situation. So you go from 30 cameras for public safety to maybe 500. And we're following a pilot that we saw in Union Square of San Francisco, which is their kind of retail touristy area. And they went from about 50 cameras to 500 in just about a year. So that's what we want to strive for and really help out HPD, help out the state police, and just have that presence of safety, but also too, to be able to solve these crimes. I think we brought up the witness side, but if we have some more evidence to be able to provide to the prosecutors, hopefully we could put some of these habitual offenders away. So next slide. And this is another one, our trash cans. We were really proud of those in the park. You see the green trash cans. That was a very generous donation from JTB Hawaii. And we partnered with Parks and Rec. I know Nate was there for the unveiling, and we really appreciated Parks stepping up and helping us with these. But they're a hit. People love them and tourists love them. And the reason was we didn't want rubbish going flying out into the ocean, right? Or along the sand. People dig in the trash sometimes. People dump the trash out sometimes. So the closed lid was really important to us. But we wanted to invest at the W bid and partnership with Department of Facilities and Maintenance at the city, and also JTB, again, with another generous donation, to buy 100 more. We bought 30 the first time for the park. We wanted to buy 100 more of these trash cans for the most trafficked areas of Waikīkī. We want to do the whole entire district, every single public trash can we want to do eventually, but for the budget for this year, we kind of did some data hunting on where the most used trash cans throughout, obviously, Kalakaua and Ku'u. So we install 100 of these so people can't dig through them, people can't tip them and vandalize them, and it'll be aesthetically pleasing for the district. Instead of looking at a trash can, look at a little nice piece of art. And then also, working, I know Parks and Rec, we've been working closely with Department of Parks and Rec on new benches. I know there's a complaint on old benches, but putting in benches that are harder to vandalize, harder to mess with, and a little bit more sturdy, a little bit more, conscious for the environment. Next question. And this is kind of geeking out though, but obviously we do power washing and cleaning, but we're going to invest in a lot more equipment to do more parts of Waikīkī. Of course, we do phenomenal job power washing Kalakaua, Kuhio, around Hilton Hawaiian Village, around kind of the most trafficked areas, but we're investing in another truck, an F550, that has over 1,000 gallons of water in it. Our current power washer has 200 gallons. We're going to invest in another one to do a lot more of the residential areas, a lot more of the areas that probably don't get as much attention. So again, investing in more cleanliness throughout the district and beautification, but we don't have to geek out about our new equipment. And we'll go to the next one. And we're also getting a street sweeper for the beach area in front on Kalakaua, kind of in front of the park area. That sidewalk kind of gets graded with sand. We want to kind of dig that up with this street sweeper. And we kind of found a model in Italy that's used in beach cities that are able to, you could vacuum it up and really clean the sidewalks in some of the alleyways too, in a unique way. So again, investing in equipment that is supplemental, that probably DFM or Parks doesn't have the capabilities to bring it into Waikīkī, but we want to do so to better the community. And that's it. I'm really happy to answer any questions. I know we have a few more minutes, but yeah, we are always striving to do new projects. We've been around 25 years, as you guys have known. We want to keep expanding our mission, keep expanding in the pillars that we work in. And that's clean, that's safe. And now it's homelessness, right? We really want to invest in the homelessness piece and helping get people off the street and help our streets be cleaner and safer. So again, thank you so much for having me. Happy to answer the
Do you have
questions.
a question?
I love what you're doing. I don't want to rain on your parade.
Please, Rain.
I mentioned 500 cameras. Back when Mayor Caldwell was around, he dedicated several cameras, one of which was on the corner of Kapahulu and Kalakaua, which was supposedly, in his words, the most dangerous corner in Waikīkī. That's, Bob and I were both at the opening of that. I don't think that that camera has been in use for quite a few years. And how are you going to remedy something that was already placed in there that isn't being used? And where are the police officers going to be to monitor these cameras so that they can actually use it? That's part one.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to give a shout out. You keep mentioning JTG. That's the Gideon family.
JTB is the Japanese tour company.
Well, also Joe Gideon and his family did.
Oh, Oh, yeah. They did the wrap. Yep, we paid them for that. They didn't donate it. We paid them, but they did a phenomenal job. And he's now a state representative, and a great guy, great business.
But back to the camera.
Yeah. You want me to answer now?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, I know that there are 30 HPD cameras that they have monitored at the substation. And I know that a number of them have or were broken. And we have been, and that was an original, I believe, donation back in 2017 or 2019 in partnership with HTA and the WBID. They helped donate those cameras to HPD. I believe they're in the process of fixing a lot of those. And it's definitely a concern of us too, that, hey, we want these cameras operating. And we've met with Major Ogata about it, because I agree, if we have these cameras, let's make sure these ones are working, right? The ones that we're talking about are cameras that are already being used in hotels, right? We don't want to go in and install 500 new cameras in public rights of way. We don't have the money for that. It would be like $1 billion. But what we want to do is, say Moana Surf Rider, right? They have a camera at the valet that faces the sidewalk, and it faces the public right away. There's technology now where you could take those maybe cameras that face public rights of way and kind of put them in the same system as the police. So say you have 4 cameras at Moana Surf Rider that face the public rights of way, then you got 8 at Sheridan, then you got 12 at whatever hotel, right? So you put those all in one system, and now you go from 30 cameras to about 500, but they're private cameras, but the hotel signs off on it to say, okay, we'll allow these public facing cameras to let the, HPD or the state police use. So yeah, go ahead.
So several years ago, somebody took a big river rock and threw it through the back window of my car, which is on Kapahulu. And my husband went down and addressed the different hotels who had cameras, because you could see very clearly there wasn't anybody on the street but this man who was walking away. The police at that time said they couldn't do anything with those photographs. What's different?
Because they're private, right?
Yes.
Well, what's different is what we're doing at the Waikīkī BID, because again, we represent a lot of these hotels. They're on our boards. We meet with them quite a bit. Is we're kind of advocating for the community that, hey, you guys, Sheridan, right? You have cameras that face the public rights of way. Why don't we form a legal document, right? And this is what Union Square did. We're copying them. We're taking their best practice. And, hey, why don't we come up with this agreement that only these cameras that face the public rights of way, not in the lobby of the hotel or on the 8th floor, that, that's private. If you sign here and there's all these kind of legal checkpoints that, okay, great, then they let them use it, right? Maybe some businesses might not sign up for it, but we are definitely advocating for, on behalf of the community, on behalf of public safety. And it's in the best interest too of these hotels, right? So that, and these residents. So it's been done in other communities. We are rolling it out. We kind of came up with the legal framework. The Attorney General is reviewing it now. And then we'll go from there. Yeah, next.
Trevor, I think this is a great idea, but I in addition to Catherine's story, I want to remind everybody what happened to my dad, who's sitting right here. He was assaulted on the Alawai Bridge, called 911, couldn't get a hold of them. Police show up, they took a report, that was it. I never heard back from them. I took it upon myself to go to the condominium buildings across the Alawai on both sides, got that footage, had it submitted to the police, never heard from the police. So what I'm concerned about is are the police actually going to be looking at these cameras that are going to be installed? And are you aware of any instance, even a single instance, in which the current cameras have been used to actually complete an arrest? recently?
I don't know the answer to that second part.
I mean,
Yeah, and that would be a question for HPD.
Yeah, and it's all in vain. Next time I'll ask them that.
Yeah, please do. But to answer your first part of the question, because it is a valid point, we are going to, and this is a partnership between the Department of Public Safety at the state level and Director Mike Lambert, who I thought he presented to you guys, but maybe not. He did. Okay. But his vision and where the partnership lies is they have funding to build this real-time crime center. So at their facility, dozens of TVs, multiple, whether it's sheriffs or whether it's paid employees that are monitoring the cameras. And then they're able to call in to D6 HPD and say, hey, on Kalakaua and whatever street, we saw someone get mugged, right? And go to this location. The other part of this is drones. Again, I don't want to talk, if you guys already know about the drones, I don't want to repeat what he already presented on, but I think that's a little bit more out, maybe a year or two down the line. It's going to take a while to get some regulations passed, but in terms of the 500 cameras, they're going to have this real-time crime center to observe, and then they'll call it in to HPD. So they're investing state dollars. I think don't quote me on this, Allison, but I think over like $1 million invested in this real-time crime center with cameras, with infrastructure. And it's not just Waikīkī. I know they're trying this out in Hawaiian homeland lands and facilities. But Waikīkī wanted to be the pilot. Again, we have the most foot traffic. We have the most on the line in terms of economy. But also we have, again, a partner like WBID to work with the businesses. We have the relationships to draft the contracts up and get it done. So I'm hoping a partner with the state and Mike Lambert. I trust him. I think he's a great director. I think he has a great vision, but I think he's the kind of director to roll up his sleeves and like get something done. And that is really refreshing to work with someone like that. And we're excited about the partnership and we're working on it now. We're working on it today, tomorrow, every day. So next question.
Trevor.
I'm sorry.
I would like to volunteer Rolf Nordahl, who's on our board here, to work with you and your committee to get the Waikīkī Grand Hotel involved with your public safety initiative and ensuring that the Waikīkī Grand Hotel works with the HPD and our camera system over there as well. If that's okay with Rolf.
We have cameras that look up and down Kapahulu Avenue in front of the hotel and up and down Lemon Road.
Yeah.
On several occasions, the police department has asked for videos. And for a time, they had a lieutenant come down and pick it up. But then they wanted our resident manager to send them videos on a thumb drive or something. And the problem with that is that the perpetrators got good lawyers. And the lawyer says, what's the chain of custody on this video?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why if you're going to do something like this, you need to have a police officer come down and get this stuff off our cameras.
Yeah.
You can't have us submitting a camera video to you that we then have to go into court and try to establish a chain of custody.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a legal expert, and I don't know all the nuances of it, but from my understanding of what this program is striving to be is that through this legal agreement, that whether it's the state police or HPD, they'll kind of have like automatic access. Like they'll have access to that camera. They kind of wrote off months ago that, hey, the Park Shore Hotel or Park Hotel said we're allowed to use these public facing cameras. We have access. So we're going to use it in the investigation. That's my understanding of it. But again, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't comment officially on it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I make a comment, Mark, during here? I want to say that your presentation is excellent.
No problem.
Pardon me? Am I able to speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to just congratulate you on your work. You're doing great work for Waikīkī. And you seem quite astute as to being on top of everything. On the lighter side of things, where you have the projector, where you had all these activities at the corner of Kapahulu and Kalakaua, I don't know how the residents feel about having more activity there, but that was a real booster to Waikiki several years ago before COVID, and where they had movies and, you know, they had people serving food there. That was a great thing. And I think we need a little more lighter entertainment instead of everything being so serious in Waikiki. I don't know if anybody else would agree with me on that, but what are some other people's views about trying to enhance some more entertainment for that location on weekends?
Yeah, thank you for the kudos. So it is confusing. I won't deny that, but there is another organization that you guys know. It's Waikīkī Improvement Association, which is led by Rick Egged, and his organization is the one that does the movies on the beach, and they do a lot of the events and the parades, and kind of like the lobbying and advocacy for Waikiki businesses. And they don't receive these assessment dollars. They are a membership organization, sort of like a chamber of commerce. But I will tell him that you gave him kudos, because that is all them, and they do a good job with the movies. So I'll tell him you said that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trevor. Oh, Rick, did you have a quick response?
Oh, can I speak? May I speak?
You want to let her go first?
We have somebody else speaking.
Oh, okay. I'll go quick and then she can go. First of all, Trevor, thank you very much for all you do. You're an amazing presenter, and I saw you at your annual meeting present too, and I just want to give you kudos to that.
Thank you for being
that and for what you do. Also, kudos to Wisdom. I know he's patrolling. I see him on his new bicycle, so he's doing a great job. I do have one question, and then I'll let you get the question from the other member of the audience. You were talking about the kiosks, and every time I go for a swim and I go down Surfboard Alley, there's a kiosk there, and they're selling, you know, tourist packages, whatever. It's very annoying because they're kind of blocking quite often. Those are illegal, correct? Unless they have a special permit.
Those are illegal, especially in the public rights of way. They're legal, but what they do, they're very clever. They have the rolly carts for a reason, because they'll kind of skirt between, if this line is private property, and they'll go to cops show up, they're on private property. Sir, this is private property. You can't arrest me. So what we're trying to do, and I'll let you finish your question, but real quick, what we're going to try to do to help that solution is, remember we talked about the overnight public-private partnership for the trespass. We're going to try to sign up these hotels and these businesses during the daytime, not for us to act as private security all day, but if we notice that these kiosks are there, then we have kind of jurisdiction to say, hey, I represent this private property and we want to trespass this individual for being on private property. And then if they step on public property, well, then yeah, that's illegal. And then HPD can cite them. So we're having these conversations now with, again, Chair Waters, Major Ogata. But it's a big nuisance. Again, people aren't dying because these people are out there, right? You know, this isn't like a health risk, but it is very annoying, and it's not a good look for Waikīkī. So
Thank you very much for that response. Thank you.
Thanks.
Steiner, Gloria, are you there?
Yes, I just say God bless you, and I think you're doing great things. And I just wish you all the success in the world. And if there's ever anything that I can do to help, I would be more than happy to. I do know Sue personally, and I've tried to help her with some of the homeless. So God bless you for all you're doing, and that's all I want to say.
Thank you so much, Gloria. I really appreciate it. I'll tell Sue as well. She's one of our best rock star employees, so thank you. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
These are kudos to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
First of all, I wish you had a picture of your kid in your presentation. That would be nice.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say thank you. I really appreciate about you is that we had the little debate about the trash cans, whether it was straight exchange or not. And so when if I'm not sure if I'm right, I go and check the facts. So I actually walked all the way down and counted it. And it turns out it wasn't straight exchange, but I love the fact that you met with me. We talked about how we want to make sure that our districts also, like we're District 1 and 2, get the same services since we're all chipping in. And I really appreciate that you stepped up. And I also really appreciate, I saw that you joined we talked about those trash cans aren't recycling. It's just all trash, but you joined the parks board.
Yeah, the board. Yes.
To try to get, because right now, currently, there's not recycling in Wise Parks. So I love the fact you were proactive after our conversation and you joined the board and are really pushing to make things happen. So I really appreciate that about you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're trying to work on the recycling still, you know, with not just parks, but I know other departments, and trying to maybe do a pilot project for Waikīkī, but I'll keep you posted. But yeah, we love meeting with you guys, and that's everyone on the neighborhood board. You know, technically the people that pay into us are the property owners. So residents like you guys aren't paying into us or taxes, but that doesn't mean that you're not part of the community of Waikīkī. I want to meet with you. But I'm not an elected official. You guys aren't my constituents, so to say. But again, I love meeting with Sarah. I love meeting with John. Love meeting with everyone in Waikīkī. So happy to.
May I say something?
Thank you, Trevor. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to say that Shannon Smith and I attend your annual meetings and will continue to do so. And you're doing a fantastic job. You and your team. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. We are. I always try to bring them on when we have a new group of people so they know what they're doing. We're running out of time. I'm going to try and get in touch with Mr. Lambert from the state for the next presentation so he can come back and bring us up to date. Having said that, we're moving on to approval of minutes. There was one correction that I know of. Do you have that?
Yeah, it's also the listings of the board members that was present. So sorry about that. I made a mistake on that, including the final motion to the regarding the resolution regarding the Alawai Bridge. That also I made a mistake. It's supposed to be put not adopted. I actually forgot to put not into it. So we can just, if someone could make a motion with the corrections or okay.
There's a motion to approve the minutes as amended. All in favor, show of hands. Any opposed? Fine. Okay, we have hit pretty much close to the end of our thing because I didn't know who was going to be the sub-districts. I didn't list their names this month. We need everybody's assistance to put away the tables and chairs. At our next meeting, we might get a slow start because there's going to be a charter